Welcome, one and all, to the US of A, and it's the stage for our final round here in the 2018 International Touring Cup at GPVWC. It's a touring cup which has been pretty well known for chopping and changing most years, and this year is no different. We head to the Virginia International Raceway, and more specifically to the 4.5-kilometer North Course, which sees elevation changes galore, and plenty of potential crazy moments ahead. My name is James Kirk. On cameras once again is Argo Tida, and joining me, as he did for last time at Curitiba, I welcome back Mr. Peter Schulzer. And Peter, we've got a fascinating situation going into this final round. First of all, let's address the elephant in the room. I got my maths wrong, so the Drivers' Championship is still open, albeit only just. Eric Strana 68 points behind Kevin Sigi-Rebenak. That should be sewn up in the first couple of races. However, in the Teams Championship, there are 7 teams with a mathematical chance still of taking that title, though realistically, we're looking at a 3-way horse fight. Horse fight? What am I going on about? A 3-way fight for the title. Are you there, Mr. Peter?
Oh, it seems like my microphone was muted.
Oh, there we go. Let's rewind. Oh. It's a 3-way fight for the title, Peter.
Yeah, it is. Can go. I think we can expect quite some battle here. I think it's ACR, Edge, and
Red Bull.
Red Bull. Fighting for the championship. 3 race, 3 guys, 3 teams. 6 drivers, I think. I hope all are here. Yeah, could be quite interesting, especially as this course seems quite tricky, especially at the infield. It seems pretty single line, so we might expect some crazy driving by some to gain some positions here.
Worth saying as well, actually, there's a few of those drivers in those top 7 teams who have big grid demotions for cutting in qualifying last time out at Curitiba, and even before that, actually. So Adam Taylor at Adonis, Mike Bell at Smile Power, Tobias Olsen at the aforementioned Red Bull, Jarl Tyen, who steps in for Mohamed Patel once again. All of those guys have 20-place grid penalties, and so they are going to be starting right at the back. And I think, Peter, you really hit the nail on the head there. The midfield section is pretty much a follow the leader style, whereas the first half of the course, there are some overtaking opportunities. Still a little bit dicey at the best of times. And, well, speaking of times, what are we looking at to get inside the top 10 today? A 125.5. Daniele Brambilla there with our first time on the board, a 127.0. The only other guy now out on track is Matthew Allington, who switches teams once again. It seems that a lot of these guys, Peter, they're playing the long game. They want to try and get the best, or they're trying to get the track in the best condition possible. But with so little cars out there, it's hardly going to make much difference at this point.
Yeah, everybody will go out probably with 3 minutes to go, and then we'll block each other, I think. Is it a private session? I don't think it is.
No, it isn't. Open session.
Okay, so, yeah, everyone will go out in the end, probably. Well, at least more than half the grid, I would say, and yeah, they will all just wait then before the last corner to make a run.
Matthew Allington, he switched to Drake. He's the lone Drake in this race, unfortunately. Sad to see that. And almost at our calling, drivers have decided to stir from within the garage to come out and have a go. Scott Cervic and Philip Morby make their way out onto the track. Let's talk a little bit about Scott Cervic, actually, who enjoyed his most successful ITC round to date in all of his years of tackling this competition. An 8th, a 6th, and a 7th place. He really was one of the stars of Brazil. But goodness me, is Eidos Motorsport going to need a hell of a round to avoid relegation? A reminder, new rules for this season sees the bottom 4 teams in Division 1 relegated to Division 2 for next season. CM Tech Racing, who for the first time since when was it? Round 2? Yeah, since round 2 at France, fielding 2 cars. They're likely out of it. TTF Racing the same. Racing Teams Roten the same. None of those teams are above 20 points from the entire season. I can't see them doing much. Eidos Motorsport is the closest to the bubble. They're on 61 points. They actually gained a point on their closest rivals, Rowan GP, last time out. However, Rowing GP. So you'd think IDOS, they've got Scott Servick in great form, brilliant. They signed David Francic, an established podium sitter in ITC. Great move. And then Rowing GP went and signed Yuri Kazdorp as their second driver to Nico Barkley today. It seems like such a shame, but you never know what can happen in this final round. It's still open.
Yeah, obviously, and I don't think Yuri has driven ITC this year or overall.
No.
And but Yuri is a fast guy. Paired with Nico Barclay, this could be a pair fighting for wins, in theory. So I think this will be a very hard job for IDOS to not get relegated today.
Let's actually keep on board with Servic, shall we, and take you around this Virginia International Raceway North course. Turn 1 and 2 is known as the Horseshoe, and then you come into this left-hander of the NASCAR bend. It's an elongated one, but it tightens up near the end, which could see some lunges down the inside. Here's one of the main overtaking spots, the left hook. It is tight, it is 90 degrees, and then it comes back in to turn 5, and then through 5A, 6 and 6A, this section known as the Snake. We then have a very brief straightaway before another one of the major overtaking opportunities on this track. It's called uphill, and you can probably see on your screens why that is. Now, this section is hard, I'm not going to lie. Turn 9, turn 10, turn 11, over the crest, 12, 12A, which can also be called 13, I guess, 14, and then 14A. That section is known as the roller coaster. You can probably understand why. Through 15, this little left kink of 16, and then around the final elongated right-hander of turn 17, the hog pen. That is the 4.5 kilometers of Virginia International Raceway that we are going to be racing on. It is incredibly difficult, a real challenge of a final round. And Scott Servick has tackled it pretty well indeed. A 125.9, that could see him fighting for the top 15 today.
Yeah, and then with the crit penalties, maybe top 10?
Maybe. Philip Morby comes in with a 128.1. Tristan Potter's in for Aurora Motorsports with a 127.9. A reminder, unless you haven't guessed, by the way, it's Super Pole as per usual. And an oh suggests that something is interesting.
You know, it was talked about the whole season that this Subaru doesn't have straight line speed. And then Jarl Tyen was hitting the ref limiter when he went over the start-finish line. So all the way from start-finish to the first corner, he was on the ref limiter. Interesting.
We actually saw Lucas Schmidt as well. He seems to have really tuned in that ACR Honda to do a similar thing. Right, Kilk there, after making his debut in the 2018 season. He has driven ITC before that, of course, but was thrown in at the last minute for Epic. He's back again. And he's in P2 with a 126.0, but purple sectors abound for Mike Bell, who's currently lying in P12. This should be provisional pole position. Indeed, it is a 125.3. Unfortunately for him, he's one of the guys with a 20-place grid penalty.
Oh, Tyen flipped! Tyen is rolling.
Yes, he has! Oh, that's multiple flips as well. To be fair, Tyen, also another one of those drivers with a 20-place grid penalty, so I don't think that's going to affect him too much, although starting at the back isn't great. Starting at the front near enough, though, will be Kevin Siggy Rebenak, a 125.8. Our championship leader, pretty much we can almost call him reigning champion now, even with that weight ballast, defying the odds.
We were talking about in practice before the stream started that the curbs are quite high and some of these cars are running on 2 wheels only, and Tyen attacked the curb a bit too much there. And if you do that in the race, that's pretty much race over.
Oh, very much so. It can bite you, the roller coaster. Strap in, because it's a bumpy ride. Craig Patterson, a debutant for Adonis Engineering, goes in P5, 0126.3. And Johan Lindberg continues some good form seen in practice. In fact, some good form shown overall, to be honest. He came back from a rough patch in the middle of the season. A 125.7 puts him on provisional pole position as things stand. However, Peter, we reckon that some of these drivers have the potential to go into 124s. So really, we are looking around Mike Bell's time of a 125.3 to find ourselves the true pole sitter.
Yeah, we've seen in practice, I think, a 25 flat. So 24s are possible with a good lap.
Let's go with Lewis McGlade now. He's the next man on a hot lap. He, of course, took his solo win of the season way back in round 3 of Brands Hatch. He's been reliable, he's been consistent. That's what you get from Lewis McGlade, albeit not as much success as previous seasons. Apart from that win, he has not actually stood on the podium. And let's take a little look at his sector times here. At 22.8, that isn't too bad, but it's not lightning pace either. I think top 15 here for Lewis will probably be a good thing to aim for. Certainly for Niels Brugman with Enterprise. He's on a 22.8 with a lot of weight ballast as well. So, oh, 2 wheels. Lewis McGlade almost goes onto the grass. Great save, and you know what? It's gifted him a purple second sector as well. A real showing that if you commit yourself around this course, you will find speed. So around the final corner of the hog pen then for Lewis McGlade. That middle sector's lightning. It is real quick, and it could see him recover a top 10 position here for Lewis McGlade. Across the line he comes, and that's a 126.3. Still not stellar. Probably going to be a bit better than what Niels Brugman. No, Niels Brugman actually recovers it in that final sector. A 125.997 sees him into P5. So currently your provisional front 2 rows are Lindberg, Siggy Rebenak, Servik, and Brugman. We've got a lot of the heavy hitters still to come, though. One of them being Adrian Campfield, who's been at the top of the practice times for about the last hour or so, Peter.
Yeah, he showed some pretty good pace, as well as Gagobaldi, who is also on the level right now. I've seen Yuri Stop not having the cleanest quali lap. It looked quite sloppy. Let's see, he's about to cross the finish line. Let's see what time he does.
That's,
third fast, actually.
That's the front row at the moment as well, at 25.7. Still not that 25.
Oh.
There's a sub 25.5 time. David Francic with a purple middle sector. Posts a 125.312. That's provisional pole position. That's at Adrian Campfield. Oh, Gogo Baldi deposes him with a 125.289. That's a great effort from the Hungarian. Oh, Campfield on 2 wheels. Oh, it's a purple first sector. It's a purple second sector as well. The Englishman is flying as he tries to take his first pole position at the last time of asking in 2018.
And he also missed the corner. But, I mean, if he gets pole.
If he gets pole, it's worth it, I would say. Yeah. Especially since he wouldn't serve any oncoming grid penalty until next season. Yeah. Adrian Campfield, could this be pole position for why the F1? He crosses the line, and it is provisional pole position for the moment, a 125.130. It was actually not a great last sector, to tell you the truth, but it was enough. Nico Barkley there slots it into P5 for Owen GP, and next on a hot lap will be Eric Strana.
And to be fair to Adrian Campfield, after he was on 2 wheels, there was no way he could keep the car on track.
So Extrana, a 22.6 first sector, not too great. A 31.0 middle sector, not too great. Eric Strana will be lucky to find himself inside the top 10 with these sorts of times. App's tyres smoking as he tries to get the car stopped in time and turned in as well. He goes right out to the edge of the exit as well. Comes back into the middle. It is a long way to the line here on the front straight, so slipstream going to be pretty crucial actually down here. And P5 is a good recovery. It's a decent final sector from the 2 times ITC champion. And crucially for him, he starts ahead of Kevin Rebenak, though. How likely it will be that he's able to take the title in this race? Pretty unlikely. Kevin Rebenak, a reminder, has a 68-point lead. Now to Lucas Schmidt. He's taken 2 consecutive pole positions in the last couple of races. I don't think he's going to be taking it today. No, only P5 for the Swiss driver. Things looking better and better for Adrian Campfield. And so really, the last 4 drivers to set a lap will be Olsen, Taylor, Moore, and Fournier. Olsen and Taylor both with 20-place grid penalties, remind you, so they're only battling here for pride. And I guess positions at the back of the grid. Olsen. It was a pretty good first sector, actually. Not a great second sector. Could be top 10 time from the Swede. Indeed, it is P9. He'll be shuffled to the back. Adam Taylor, I think, will be across the line next. just about saves it there. Goodness me. And now it's going to be Ranu Muru, actually, who's going to come across the line next for TTF Racing, followed by Taylor, I think. Let's watch Muru across the line, looking to score some final points for TTF Racing in what could be their final appearance in Division 1. Only P16 for the Estonian. And next will be Adam Taylor. Where does he go? He goes only P16, opposing Muru. Fournier on his return to the championship. Only P17 for the Frenchman. So Adrian Campfield, whether he cut his lap or not, is going to be celebrating pole position for YDF1. It's going to be a front row of him and Gergo Boldi for the first time this year. Excellent news for Enterprise. David Francic, third place for IDOS. They are going to be jumping for joy. Lucas Schmidt will start P5 with Strana and Barkley rounding out the third row. So we've got two of the relegation candidates in the top 6. That makes for a spicy meatball of a grid, Peter.
Oh yeah, it will. I don't know if you've seen it, but Geoffrey Fournier on his fast lap was basically lying on his left side at the same corner Yaltain flipped.
Oh, really?
So not surprised he only finished at P17.
Lewis McGlade, best pole lap I have seen for a while. Round 8, 8 of 8. I've got to say, he didn't actually secure purple sectors across the board, Campfield, but a purple sector 1 and a purple sector 2. I don't care whether you cut. I'm going to speak my mind here. I don't care if you cut the track. Final rounds of the season, you're looking to go out with a bang. YDF1 can replace him next year if they really don't want the penalty, Peter. But what a great position to be in at what is looking like one of the hardest tracks to overtake on. This is effectively our Monaco of the ITC this season. And he's got front row seats to the first corner.
Oh yeah, yes. You can be lucky that it's not the real Monaco, otherwise he would have been into the wall, but
yes,
a pole is a pole.
And so I'm just trying to figure out the rest of this, how the rest of the grid's going to form. So Mike Bell's going to drop outside of the top 10, and Olsen's going to drop outside of the top 10. That means that Siggy Rebenak and Servik will be P9 and P10. Where did Chris Butcher qualify? Only P15. And so really, is Enterprise the best performing team in the top? Yeah, they are. Goodness me. With Gergo Boldi up there in P2, you then have to go all the way down to, Niels Brugman to find another team in that top 7 that has a teammate. Niels Brugman going to be starting P11 on the road. Chris Butcher will be 2 places behind him. So looking good for them. For Siggy Rebenak as well. I mean, let's look at our 3 protagonists going into the title fight, though. Those are the 3 teams that we were really interested in. Strana starts furthest up the road. He'll be starting P5. Rebenak will be starting P9. Oh, no, I lied. What am I talking about? Schmidt is starting P4, isn't he? So it's going to be a direct battle between Red Bull and ACR with Siggy Rebenak in behind. But then again, Siggy Rebenak's got the most weight in race 1. So surely he's just going to be biding his time for later in the evening to score those points.
Oh yeah, of course. And we've seen him flying the last race without weight, or Strana as well. So I mean, anything can happen really. Who knows? Maybe someone goes 5 right into turn 1 again, and all the championship contenders are taken out.
That would be typical ITC.
Yeah, it would.
So, 5 minutes of practice left. I'm not quite sure what I would want to do in this situation, Peter. I don't know whether I'd want to try and go out there and battle people, or try and focus on pure race pace and finding the lines. Because I imagine getting into the groove of this track is a little bit more important than other places. But then again, with it being such a dry place in the way of overtaking opportunity, that suggests to me, I think we were talking about it, people are maybe going to be trying a few more desperate moves. So better to know where to defend, I guess.
Yeah, and also better to know where not to defend.
Yeah. I think actually, to be fair, that is that's something that these touring car drivers as a whole don't seem to get most of the time. Mostly pride and stubbornness gets in the way, right? But sometimes letting someone have a position isn't the worst thing in the world because it means you survive another day.
Yeah, we've seen many incidents where just one of the guy wasn't trying or wasn't wanting to give up the position, and then the other snuck a wheel in on the rear of the car in front, and both spin, or only the car in front with defense spins. So sometimes it's wise to not defend too hard if you know the guy behind you will make a move.
I mean, let's look at that major incident that happened in race 3 last time out of Curitiba, Baldy versus Pinches. For those interested, we were talking about it. Was it a racing incident? You know, was there penalties being given out? There were penalties given out to both Pinches and Baldy, but that's because other drivers were involved in the incident. It was very much decided it was both of their faults. And that was a simple situation where, okay, you could complain it's Rfactor 2 physics. The cars shouldn't and wouldn't do that in real life, but the fact is, we are in Rfactor 2. Those sorts of incidents do happen, and rather than trying to defend or hold your line, sometimes it's best just to give a bit of space. You know, it would be this moment in time when I'd say, what was your favourite moment of ITC 2018? But Peter, you've not really been with us for that long.
No, I haven't watched any the fun races really. I've driven a few races in DIV2, but then didn't follow at all the fun. So I basically didn't even know who was fighting for the championship until you told me.
Professional broadcasting operation.
Very professional.
But no, to be fair, it seems like this year's been another year where ITC has shown how amazing it is and how controversial it is as well, because people are complaining all the time about, oh, you know, this and oh, this guy's not leaving the space and all that. But then again, this has been the closest championship in terms of the teams, and for the longest time, the drivers as well. At GPVWC this year, and you look at the quality of the field on paper throughout the year, we've had drivers chopping and changing as well. It's been one of the strongest grids we've seen in this series history, so surely it's a good starting point with the new mod, with some new rules here and there to really crack on in 2019, maybe refine the calendar a little bit and come back with another strongest season ever. So into the final few seconds then of this first practice session before the race. Of course, a reminder, if you are new here, firstly, why are you new here at round 8? Don't go just yet, enjoy the broadcast, and then catch up on all of it on the GPVWC YouTube channel once we're finished here. We have 3 races. The first race, the top 10 in the championship carry weight ballast into it. So Kevin Sigurd-Rebenak, for example, he's leading the championship, so he has 75 kilograms of weight ballast. And currently the man who is sitting in P10 in the championship is Lewis McGlade. He's carrying 9 kilograms. That was the same case in qualifying. It carries over to the race. Then race 2. The grid is determined by the finishing order of race 1. However, the top 10 who finish in race 1, in those positions in race 1, I should say, they inherit the respective weight ballast values for those positions. And so, for example, Kevin Sigurd-Rebenak, if he finishes, or he came into race 1 leader of the championship, he has 75 kilograms. If he was to finish outside of the points in race 1, he wouldn't have any weight ballast at all in race 2. Then comes chaos round, race number 3, where we have a randomly generated number between 10 and 15. That is then applied to the grid or the finishing grid of race 2. That then becomes the grid for race 3. Got it? Got it. Time's up, and we're advancing into our first race of the season. A fascinating first 3 rows. We have relegation candidates. We have guys who are looking to scrap around for the title. We've got guys who really have nothing to lose in there, Peter. All promises to be a rather juicy first corner, I imagine.
Oh yeah, as it always is in ITC, really.
Yes.
especially with these cars being a front-wheel drive and not the easiest to start, there can be quite some difference in starting procedure and obviously starting speed and the speed carrying into turn 1. So we often see a lot of people side by side and not one of them wanting to give room. So, yep, will be fun, I think.
Did Jeffrey Fournier have a penalty that he had to serve? Yes, he did. He had a back of the grid demotion from 2017.
Ah.
So, tactical serving there from Jeffrey Fournier. Gets it out of the way. Lovely. Unless he cut the lap this time as well, which would be hilarious if he did. Anyway, on to our formation lap we go. And it is Adrian Campfield who leads us away for the first, well, not for the first time on pole position, because he has been there before, albeit on reverse grids. He leads here in race 1 for the first time, ahead of Gergo Boldi. I believe that's his best qualifying of the position. Looking good for him and Enterprise as they look to try and claw their way into the top 3. David Franchich starts P3 for IDOS Motorsport, ahead of Lucas Schmidt in the ACR and Eric Strana in the Red Bull. Those two teams looking to get a bit of a jump start in the team's title fight at this final round. Nico Barkley starts P6 for Rowan GP. A reminder, they're trying to fend off relegation in this final round as well. And why the F1 ultimately was the best performing team in qualifying, Johan Lindberg, the second of them in P7. We welcome Yuri Kastorp to the championship for the first time in 2018. He starts P8 for Rowan GP. Can you believe Rowan GP, the second best performing team in qualifying? That's crazy. Kevin Seeger-Rebenak, championship leader, soon to be champion, we believe, starting P9 for Edge Esports and rounding out the top 10, IDOS Motorsports, Scott Cervix. So your top 3 performing teams, why the F1, Rowan GP and IDOS. That's awesome. Niels Brogman starts P11 for Enterprise Pulsars with Wright Kilk, the leads of the Epic Racing cars in P12. Chris Butcher starts P13 for ACR Zaxby with Raul Muru inside the points, P14 for TTF Racing. Lewis McLeod will round out the top 15 for Roar Motorsport, with Craig Patterson making his debut in the series, P16, and the lead of the Adonai. Tristan Potters makes it P17 for Roar Motorsports, with Philip Morby P18 for Racing Team Stroton. Mike Bell, after a grid penalty, is all the way down in P19 for Smile Power Racing, with David Yunt rounding out the top 20 for CM Tech. Adam Pinches is down in P21 after asking for his lap to be deleted for Smart Power Racing, and then come the rest of the penalty servers. Tobias Olsen in 22nd with a Red Bull Street Fighter, Alan Taylor in 23rd with Adonis Engineering, Matthew Allington in P24 in the Lone Drake here today, Daniele Brambilla making it 2 CM Techs for the first time since France in P25, and rounding out our 27 car grid, we've got Jarl Dyer in for Edge Esports, and the returning Jeffrey Fournier for Epic Racing. Just about made it back in time as our front guys get to the grid. Perfectly timed as always. I try. Sometimes I fail, but thankfully this is a relatively long circuit, so we just about got there.
Yeah. Looking at the width of the track, I don't think they will be able to do 5 right, I think, into turn 1 this time around.
Let's hope not. Because that was disaster last time. Watch race 2 at Curitiba. It was fun. But right now, let's watch this. The final 3 races of the 2018 season begin now. And it is a good start off the line from Adrian Campfield. Gergo Boldi slots him behind. It is a relatively short run down to turn 1, actually, considering the length of the straight. And the front row are unopposed going in there. David Franchich has made a pretty decent start to get up there to P... No, I lie, sorry. It's Eric Strana who's made a good start. Up to P3 already, looking to battle David Franchich into turn 3. This is going to be the NASCAR bend. And oh, Franchich on the inside, just about going to defend there. Oh, that's someone off wide. I'm not entirely sure who it was. I think it was Lindberg, yeah, and Olsen off as well. So Lindberg in grief. Barkley up to 5th. Lucas Schmidt not really moved anywhere in 6th. Scott Cervix made a blinder of a start up to 7th, with Kastorp in 8th and Brugman up into the top 10 because of Lindberg's off. It's time to go uphill. And once again, Campfield is unopposed. Let's look back, see if anybody's looking on the inside. Yeah, it was Chris Butcher looking on the inside of Wright Kilk here. And Wright Kilk is going to stay ahead as we enter the roller coaster.
I've taken a quick look at the replay. Lindberg lost it on his own on the braking.
That's a shame there for the Swede after such a good qualifying. We've already had our first retirement of the race. The 2 CM Techs didn't last long. Brambilla becomes our first retirement on lap 1. Around the hog pen. Look at Gergo Boldi, a real tight line into the entrance there, and on exit he might be looking to line up a move. It's actually nose to tail for our leaders here. And Canfield is going to lead, albeit just from Baldy, Francic, Barkley, Strana, Schmidt, Servik, Kasdorp, Sigi Rebenak and Brugman rounding out the top 10. Baldy going to look to the outside of the horseshoe. No doing, though. He's going to have to get a little bit more creative than that. Baldy and Francic then following behind Campfield. And it looks like Yuri Kasdorp there with a move up into the NASCAR bend. That one's successful. And so Kasdorp moves his way up to P7. Sigi Revenak P9 with Niels Brugman P10. Kilk, Butcher, McGlade, Muru and Morby. Rounding out your point scorers. Shout out to Jarl Tyen, who's made a stormer of a start. Remember, Edge Esports leading this team's championship going into today. He's already up to P16 and already clattering across the curbs as Matthew Allington and Jeffrey Fournier have come into contact with each other, both off and both into the barriers.
Yeah, earlier we've seen Adam Taylor being on the grass in lap 1. Oh, this was unfortunate. It was a 3-wide with Fournier on the inside, Ellington on the outside, and a Red Bull in the middle.
So I'm presuming that Red Bull was probably Tobias Olsen. Fournier out of this race becomes our second retirement. Going to be moving on to lap 3 at 13. And I'll tell you what, fair play to David Francic, showing no signs of rust is the Croatian. Sticking pretty close to Gogo Baldi, who's once again looking to line up a move on Adrian Campfield. Oh, look at Lucas Schmidt, sorry, who's gone on the inside of Eric Strana. Possibly a mistake from the Swede. And Lucas Schmidt, the Switz, is going to move his way up into P5 as Gogo Baldi looks to the outside of Campfield, looking to go all the way around the outside. Such is the camber of that corner. The Baldi's rear right wasn't moving, and is he going to complete this move into the NASCAR bend? No, he is not. He has to pull out there. But very close to taking the lead of this race then, Gogo Baldi. That's invited David Francic back in. So close between these top guys as Kevin Sigi Revenak looking on the inside as Scott Servik into turn 4. Not going to happen for now.
In the meantime, Jarl Tyen back into the points, just overtook Philip Morby for P15.
So already that's such a good start from Tyen. He's almost overtaken half the field in the first 2 laps or so. Next on his list will be Raunu Muru and Lewis McGlade up ahead. Gotta say, Niels Brugman in a world of his own. I was expecting him to be gobbled up by Kilk and Butcher. Not so the case. Kilk is holding his own rather nicely against Butcher. A reminder, he's got a lot of weight ballast on board that car, though, and it seems to be affecting him pretty badly. Goes across the board for all the weight ballast people, actually, with the exception of Strana, who's right up there at the top. The Campfield's starting to become a bit more of a bottle cork now. The top 10 still only covered by 4.2 seconds. For Gogo Baldi, he might start losing his patience. We've seen him make a couple of mistakes throughout the year. He's going to want to make sure that in this position, he doesn't make a mistake, though, because he's looking to score good points here.
Yeah, and Francic keeps getting closer to Baldi. He had a little peek on the outside on the last lap. Campfield is very right in turn 1. This might be a chance for Baldi to make a move here.
The problem is that Baldi's going to be on the outside of the NASCAR bend, though. And this is where Francic could take a look. No, he's going to just hold off. And although, oh, Campfield very wide there. And Baldi, with some late reactions, having to stop a little bit earlier for the left hook. Nico Barkley showing some good pace as well up there in P4. He's hooked onto the back of this train. Bit of dust being kicked up there as some liberal cutting of the snake. And will there be any launches up the inside of uphill? No, Nico Barkley does break a little bit late, though. And, oh, Lucas Schmidt looking a little bit eager on the inside of Barkley as well. I get the feeling that something is going to give at some point in this race, Peter. It's just a question of when rather than if.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time until someone sends it up the inside in one braking zone. And if I'm having to guess at someone, I think Nico Barkley is going to do it rather soon if they keep going slow in front of him.
Well, to be fair, Nico Barkley is... I mean, that's a relegation battle on track we're talking about here, Barkley versus Francic. Although on this lap, it seems like Campfield and Baldi have broken a little bit away from Francic once again, and Francic away from Barkley, who has Lucas Schmidt all up in his rearview mirrors. The Swit's going to look to the inside, is he, or the outside? He's going to go to the outside, breaks very late indeed. But Barkley's going to hold the inside line. Bit of contact on exit. Schmidt still... And Barkley holds strong. He's going to stay in P4 for now.
Yeah, and it always seems like Lucas Schmidt is able to get good exits out of the last corner. And he needs to make the move before turn 1, because I've just seen that he hit the ref limiter in the end, and Barkley was getting faster towards turn 1, towards the braking zone of turn 1. So I think Lucas Schmidt has a good car out of the corners, but not at the end of the straights.
I'm more worried for him once his weight ballast gets applied, though, Peter. If he does stay inside the top 10, he struggled with weight ballast in every single appearance that he's made with the addition. Great helicopter cam I've got here now, by the way, taking us all the way through the roller coaster. And you can see that Baldy and Campfield just have so much more confidence in their car, making up time hand over fist on the rest of the field. Frančić just about keeping up, and Barkley able to keep up there as well. But Strana's now starting to put pressure on Schmidt, which is allowing the Peruvian to catch back up to the top 3.
In the meantime, Yaltayan is in P13. He managed to get ahead of Ronamuru and I think Lewis McLeod just this lap.
Yep.
Yeah, he did. They're actually battling quite a bit.
I'm surprised.
There were, yeah, quite a few place exchanges. I would just take a look at the replay.
Oh, it's Baldy looking around the outside of the horseshoe once again. Broke very late indeed. I thought he might get his one of his tyres knuckled up on the grass on the outside. Wasn't the case. Stays safe for now.
Tyan and McLeod were actually going 2 lines through the midfield, side by side.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, me as well. I didn't think this was possible.
I'm not going to say anything. Not yet. Not yet. We'll wait until the end of the race. I'll withhold my judgment until then. Oh, behind. Is that Butcher on Kilk? Oh, he was in and out of the braking zone, and Kilk goes a little bit deep. This could be the position for Butcher. And indeed it is. A mistake from right Kilk. And Butcher is through into 11th.
It looked like Baldy could make the move on Adrian Campfield around the outside of turn 1, but he outbraked himself a little bit and went a little bit too wide.
I think you're still on replay.
Am I?
Yes, because they're just coming down the hog pen now.
Yeah,
fact,
yeah, I know why.
To be fair, Baldy has been closer every single lap now for the past couple, and he is right underneath the rear wing of Campfield, who holds a neutral line. He forces Baldy to choose his line first, and so Baldy is going to go for the outside. They're going to go side by side across the line now. Baldy breaks early, looking to get the undercut here. Has Campfield gone a little bit deep? No, he clips the inside apex beautifully well. This has been a very measured drive from Adrian Campfield so far. He is withstanding the pressure with aplomb, and Gergo Baldy, for the 6th lap in a row now, has to remain behind at turn 1. You can see how much this pace is damaging Baldy's race, because once again Frančić is starting to look eager. That Mercedes known for being pretty good on the brakes, so the Croatian might look to launch a move at some point, especially in the uphill section here. If you get a little sniff like Butcher did, it's very possible to get a move done there. And yeah, look at that. After the top 2 had flown away, they've got the second gap over Frančić. Once again, it's the second gap covering the top 4.
Yeah, Campfield also completely out of shape going the uphill corner there, hitting the crest a few times, lost obviously a bit of time to Baldy, Frančić as well. Nico Barkley's catching up again, so but it seems that Campfield has the upper hand on the straights though, so even if he's slower in the midfield, if he can keep up on the straights, then that's no issue for him.
It's one of the Honda's strengths, absolutely. Actually, looking back to Lucas Schmidt, there is a clear gap being made there between Schmidt and Strana. And so this top 5 is the breakaway group now, as Baldy's got another little bit of a lip here, but he's going to be on the outside of turn 3. You don't really want to be there, and so he lets off a little bit. Has to slot in behind once again. He does not want to lose any time. As you can see them, they're allowed to go a little bit deep. There's Baldy looking on the inside of the left hook. He's going to get no purchase there, though. And look how close this top 5 is now. Strana, Kasdorp battling behind in a duo. Servik and Siggy Rebenak battling behind in a duo. Brugman still has the measure of Butcher, and Kilku's not dropped away that far. 5-way battle for the lead, though, around Virginia Raceway North. And Nico Barkley, once again, looking the most eager of the 5 to make a move, especially on a relegation rival. So after this rotation, we will be on lap 9 of 13. Surely a lot of fatigue going to be going through the drivers now.
Scott Xavier, Kevin Siggy, side by side for the last 4 corners, I think, still side by side entering the main straight. But then the Subaru top line speed kicks in and he loses the position.
Yep. And so Scott Cervic will be pretty happy that he's in the Mercedes at this point. Oh, a little late braking there from Siggy Revenak. Tried to scare Cervic off the road. Not going to happen on this particular occasion. I honestly cannot tell what way this 5-way battle for the lead is going to go.
Oh, Kestop's ended up the inside of Eric Strand there, side by side into turn 4, turn 5.
Oh, and he's got him as well. That's the first move we've seen on stream into the left hook. And Yuri Kastorp's the one who's got it done. It is a Rowan GP 4-6. Of course, any positions lost for Eric Strana in race 1 here is going to be good for race 2 in terms of weight ballast. Might prove dividends in race 3 as well, depending on race position. But you really want to leave nothing to chance. And I think Campfield is starting ever so slightly to gap Gergo Baldi. And I think this is where the trait of the Vauxhall comes in now, where it's not great on its tyres. And I think it is starting to suffer now. A slight mistake down turn 16 there has invited David Francis to have a look. So Francis is going to be forced to the outside here. Gogo Baldi on the inside line. Remember those Mercedes with pretty decent brakes. Baldi does brake pretty late himself. Look at Francis on the outside. He's going to try and hook it around the outside of the horseshoe. This is what Baldi has tried to do to Campfield multiple times before. But this time, it's not going to work for Francic. And into the NASCAR bend, Baldi will remain ahead. But Campfield, this is the opportunity he's been waiting for. He's going to try and break away.
Scott Soviak is catching up to Eric Strachan and Yuri Castro. He is continuing his good form from the last race.
You're not wrong. Kevin Siggy-Revenak, he's been close, hasn't he? But with all that weight ballast, with the Subaru as well, of all the cars to be driving, really struggling to overtake, unlike his teammate Jarl Tyen, who's now made his way past Chris Butcher. That's actually a pretty significant move, because Edge Esports, remember, in direct competition with ACR. So that's yet another driver ahead of driver combo. And another great helicopter cam shot here. It's just showing Adrian Campfield's advantage of 7/10 now. Gergo Baldi all of a sudden has become the bottle cork. He seems to have gained actually a little bit of time in the midfield section on this lap. And David Frančić himself, he can't really afford just to focus ahead of him either, because Nico Barkley once again is right underneath his rear wing, and it could be the battle for third, not the battle for second that we're looking at. Barkley looks to the inside. Frančić is going to cover that line. It also doubles as an attacking line onto Baldi. And oh, it was that little punt from Lucas Schmidt behind. Either way, they exit the corner as they entered. As what's that? Is that Cervic on Siggy-Revenak? Or other way around, sorry. It was, but once again, Siggy-Revenak, that straight line speed, that weight ballast betraying him.
Oh, Lucas Schmidt has a little look up the inside of Nico Barkley. They made contact. Barkley could hold it. Very close to Barkley spinning out of the race.
Thankfully for him, using a front wheel drive, so just apply the power and you should be fine. In Jer, it is Nico Barkley very much applying the pressure now. Baldi has been able to break away by 5/10. Campfield leads by a second though. This is as big as the gap has ever been throughout this race. Lap 11 of 13, closer to the end than we are at the beginning. The light at the end of the tunnel is in sight for these top guys. Points almost secured. Kasdorp P6 still ahead of Strana. Cervic still holding off Siggy-Revenak, and Brugman only has a 7/10 gap over Kilk.
Kilk made a mistake on the midfield, on the infield. Jarl Tyen went up his inside, a little bit of contact, but Tyen got ahead.
He's had an outstanding race, Jarl Tyen, he really has. From back of the grid to P11, and that's another position gain then, and he's kind of in the perfect position, Peter, isn't he? Because he's now P11. That would be no weight ballast for race 2 as well.
Yeah, Lucas Schmidt makes a move onto Nico Barkley around the outside of turn 1.
He might get this done as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing move.
so late on the brakes compared to Nico Barclay. I thought the move was over after Lukas Schmidt was losing time again at the end of the straight, but he was so late on the brakes. Oh, no, he's on the rest. This won't help him, but Nico Barclay is too far away to capitalize.
That's good news for Eidos Motorsport, as Nico Barclay and Rowan will lose another 3 points because of that move. Unfortunately, Yuri Kasdorf is in 6th, and he has been the real thorn in the Eidos operation this time around. P6 in ahead of Scott Cervic. A reminder as Eric Strana looks up the inside. Oh, what Eidos would do to have Eric Strana overtake him at this point. And actually, hold on, Kevin Seeger-Rebenak's made his way past Cervic. Didn't spot that move, but the Austro-Slovenian has made his way through. So that's doubly bad news for Eidos.
I'm taking a look at the replay. Oh.
Oh.
Well, this was Soviet giving up the position.
Okay.
Kevin Siggy, well, I would say he dummied the move into turn 1 on the inside, and Soviet opened the inside even though there was not even close to being overlap.
Final lap of the race, and Boldy's been able to reel in the gap ever so slightly to Adrian Campfield, but it has been a very measured display from the Englishman. He's done incredibly well, and if he completes this final rotation without any mistakes, he'll be winning his third race of the season as Kevin Seeger-Rebenak looking around the outside of Eric Strana. I can't actually remember. I think this is going to be the round where Kevin Seeger-Rebenak wins the championship, especially if he does that. He's overtaken Eric Strana with an elongated move around turn 1, 2, and 3. He's into P7 with style.
Yeah, and Kevin Seeger-Rebenak just found pace out of nowhere compared to the other cars on the last few laps.
Oh, and Jarl Tyen's overtaken Niels Brugman as well. Edge Esports and moving up through the gears. Doing extremely well.
A little bit of contact there with Kastorf and Siggy.
Thankfully, both of them stay in one piece. But we're going to take a little look up to the leader now in the most dangerous section of the circuit here. Going to come off the roller coaster now through turns 14 and then 15.
Siggy sent it up the inside of Kastorf.
He has. Oh, and he's almost lost it as well. Full drifting around turn 15. He keeps it in one piece. But round the hog pen for the final time. Adrian Campfield from pole position takes his 3rd win of the season for the F1. Gergo Boldy comes home 2nd to pick up his 2nd podium of the season. Yes, it is, with David Frančić, a podium for Eidos. Is it enough to save them from relegation? I don't think so. Schmidt comes home in P4 with Barclay 5th, Kasdorp 6th, Seeger-Rebenak 7th with Strana 8th, Cervic 9th, and Jarl Tyen rounding out the top 10. Brugman, Butcher, McGlade pinches home in P14. A great race from him unnoticed. And Ranu Muru scores the final point. So Kilk, unfortunately, shuffled to outside of the points. The rest of your finishers were Patterson, Bell, Olsen, Lindberg, Taylor, Yunt, Morby, Allington, and Bottas. Your 2 retirements from this race. Fournier and Brambilla.
Kevin Seeger-Rebenak there nearly lost the position to Eric Strana in the end. He tried sending it up the inside of Kastorf in the last corner, but Kastorf was having none of it. So Siggy basically on the grass got a bit of a wriggle, lost massive amount of speed entering the straight, and then being the Subaru, Eric Strana was getting really close. But when Strana wanted to make the move, he bumped the rear of Siggy and lost all his overspeed he had.
Right, so I know that my maths failed me last time out, but I'm going to attempt to do some quick maths, James, now. So Schmidt with 13 points, Butcher with 4, which means that they score 17. Let's see, what did Eidos score? 16 and 7, so that's going to be 23. Rowan GP scored 11, so they scored 21. So Eidos did actually outscore them in that particular race. Kevin Seeger-Rebenak. So 9 points, 8 points means that the championship lead. So Kevin Seeger-Rebenak is now officially your ITC 2018 champion. That much is confirmed. I blew the load last time, I realized, but now he's officially champion. We can get that one booked, filed away. Edge Esports score 9 with Seeger-Rebenak, 6, so that's 15 overall for Edge. Who's next? Smile Power only scored 2 points. Oh, Red Bull, of course. I didn't even. Where did Strana finish? Only P8, so only 8 points scored for Red Bull. And the final of those guys was Adonis and Epic, both of which scored nil points in that round. So let's look at the championship standings then for the team. So Kevin Seeger-Rebenak is your driver's title winner. And there is now left on offer a maximum of 90 points available. So Edge Esports is going to be on 390. Basically, the title has not been decided. Let's get that fact out the way. Title has not been. I'm going to make another box, Peter. You chat for a little bit, and I'm going to do the adding up.
At least do it right this time around.
Yes.
But I think this time we can say that Kevin Seeger-Rebenak has won the championship.
Well, yeah, exactly, because he outscored Eric Strana, which means that the gap is now 69 points, and there's only 50 points available for each driver. Oh dear, seems like there's more stuff kicking off, unfortunately. As will always be the case in ITC, let's be fair.
Yeah, well, at least we didn't have a massive crash this time around.
Okay, let's talk about the fact that there were only 2 retirements in that first race. Everyone was so well behaved.
Yeah, I mean, we only saw a bit of banging in the first lap, and then the one incident where Fournier and another one was 3 wide with a Red Bull, but otherwise was quite good.
Yeah, I agree. So let's see. The gap between Rowan and Eidos was 37 points, which is now being reduced to 35, with Eidos outscoring Rowan by 2. Excuse me. Edge Esports get 15 points, which puts them onto 390. Street Fighter get 8 points, which puts them onto 353. ACR score 17, which puts them onto 358. So ACR going to second in the team's championship. Enterprise score 25 points, which puts them, so 7, 18, yeah. That is right, isn't it? Yep, so that they go on to 318 points. Epic score nil points, so they stay on 283. Smile Power only scored 2, which sees them ahead of Epic onto 284. Adonis scored nothing, so that's on 274. A reminder, 90 points still remain. And so, we are down at race 2 of 3 to a 4-horse race. There we go, I got my phrases correct. Edge Esports, Red Bull Street Fighter, ACR Zaxpeed, and Enterprise just about hanging on in there. Once again, those points go down to only a maximum of 45 once we enter the final round. So, this is what the teams have to do. Enterprise have to score, at the very least, 27 points to stay in the title fight. They have to score at least 27 points. So they have to score better than what they did in race 1. ACR have to make sure that they are not, and remember, ACR are second now, of course. ACR have to make sure that they are not outscored by 40, so that's going to be 398. 5 will be 403. ACR cannot be outscored by more than 13 points. Red Bull cannot be outscored by more than 18 points to take us to race 3. It's all getting very exciting now. We've already lost 3 teams. It's like a battle royale. Jeffrey Fournier, Tobias is a joke since 2012, since 2010. Wow, savage. And of course, we'll keep you up to date with that IDOS Rowan battle. Of course, the gap between the two of them. Actually, that's important. That could be sewn up in race 2. So 35 points the difference. So if Rowing GP want to relegate IDOS next race, they have to outscore IDOS by 11 points. I don't think that's going to happen personally, but once again, we've now got weight ballast for the top 10 finishers. And that's actually a lot of people who wouldn't usually receive weight ballast, Peter. I'm looking at your likes of Campfield, of Boldy. We know that Schmidt's not been good with weight ballast. Barkley could prove to be a very exciting race too, and maybe a bit more of a messy one actually, with the weight ballast proving to be such an unknown factor with these drivers in particular.
Yeah, and at the looking at the relegation battle, also Yuri Kastop, first time in the car, first time weight penalty. So we might see something similar like with Lucas Schmidt, not knowing your weight penalty or not being good with the weight penalty. So this might favor Eidos a bit, even though Francic obviously has a massive weight penalty as well.
Yeah, I mean, Francic has dealt with weight ballast before, but I don't think he's dealt with this much, and especially in these cars as well. Scott Cervic will be feeling happy, though. And I think for Edge Esports, it's a pretty good scenario for them because both of their drivers finished outside of the top 10, or no, outside of the top 5, I should say. So they're going to have hardly any weight balance to deal with in race number 2. Although that said, Kevin Sigurremenak really struggled to make his way through the field. And of course, Jarl Tyen, I mean, he's going to be one of the lightest cars in that top 10. But now he's coming up against some of the fastest in this session, whereas before he was scything his way through people who were slow in qualifying or had massive weight ballast and were in the midfield as well.
And we see quite some fast race laps at the moment. Where did Tobias Olsen finish? Does he have a
Outside
weight
of
penalty?
top 15.
Okay, but then Yuri Kastop is currently second with a 25.7 with a weight penalty.
Could be quality laps. You never know. Yuri Kasdorp is a memer.
Yeah, he is. He is.
So actually, I need to note down that Rebenak 18 champion. So for the first time this year, we've now got 2 champions on the grid in Stranaran and Rebenak. I'm actually curious. I don't know why the F1 wouldn't have. Why the F1 could actually overtake Drake for 8th. Because those 25 points have seen them up onto 200, which only puts them 15 away. So they could very much be... I struggle to call them best of the rest because we're talking about 8th position here. I think it's probably someone a bit further up. Let's see, shall we? We're into the final 20 seconds of practice here. And I've got this ominous feeling. It was such a clean race last time, with the exception of a couple of offs at the beginning.
Jarl Tyen's game just crashed with 7 seconds to go.
Good thing it happened now.
Yeah.
Because we can wait a little bit for Mr. Tyen. That would be huge in that championship. Because, as I say, actually, I don't know. Discounting Enterprise, that would allow Red Bull and ACR an easy route back in. Enterprise have to do a lot to take their hopes through to the final race of this season now.
Yeah, I think unless something major happens in both races, this will be decided between Edge and ACR.
Not Red Bull?
How much are they behind ACR now?
They're only 5 points behind ACR.
Oh, well,
And I'm thinking Olsen for race 3.
Yeah, well, could be interesting. Lucas Schmidt with a weight penalty. Eric Strand is very fast. Olsen was very fast. Hmm.
I'm going to find out the answer to a lot of these questions in the next 15 minutes or so. A reminder, Enterprise has to outscore Edge by 27 points. They have to outscore Edge by 27 points. Title chances are not in their hands at all. It's very much an up against the wall job for them. Red Bull and ACR, if they outscore Edge, then they stay in the title height, in the title hunt, I should say. It's as simple as that. But obviously they'd like to outscore them by a lot, so that their chances are as good as they can be. And weight ballast for the likes of Campfield, Baldy, Franchich, Schmidt, Barkley, Kasdorp, all people who are not used to it. Well, either way, it's going to be the same front row that we started this evening with. Adrian Campfield leads us off for the second time. And he will once again be ahead of Gergo Baldi. The second row is made up of David Franchich and Lucas Schmidt. We then have Nico Barkley and Yuri Kasdorp on the third row, followed by Sigi Rebenak and Strana. Remember, Sigi Rebenak now our 2018 ITC champion, finally, officially. And it's nice to have both of our champions on the grid on the same row. Should be exciting from there. Scott Cervic and Jarl Tyen round out the top 10. We then have Niels Brogman. Remember, these guys now without weight ballast. Chris Butcher, Lewis McGlade, Adam Pinches, and Wright Kilk rounding out the top 15. So that means that somebody hasn't returned. I think it's Ranu Muru, unfortunately. Yep, Muru not here. Craig Patterson, Mike Bell, Tobias Olsen, Johan Limberg, and Adam Taylor round out the top 20. And then our now 26 car grid is finished off with David Yunt, Philip Morby, Matthew Allington, Tristan Potters, Jeffrey Fournier, and Daniele Brambilla. So looking at those starting positions, I would say things are looking very good for Edge Esports. If they are ahead by 45 points in comparison to any other team, so we're looking at Red Bull and ACR specifically, if they're ahead by 45 points, they win the championship here in Race 2. That said, although they have a good starting position there from P7 and P10, I don't think it's going to be as clear-cut as scoring 45 points more than the other teams in the title hunt. I'm having trouble saying hunt today. I keep on saying height. I know it's a track with different elevation changes, but I need to get it into my brain. Actually, no, I think I'm combining the words. I want to say title as opposed to hunt. We'll go with fight then. My brain demands. Who do you reckon's got this in the bag, Mr. Schulze?
Race win or title?
Race.
I think Franchich is looking good with having less weight penalty than Baldy and Campfield.
Mm-hmm.
I think both Campfield and Baldy didn't have a weight pen in race 1. So
I reckon it's one of our champions, Sigi Rebenak or Strana. They're fast and they do not have a lot of weight ballast. Well, the 3, 4, 5 lights illuminate above the drivers. Let's go racing for the penultimate time this year at GPVWC. It is again a really decent launch from Mr. Campfield, who will lead down into turn number 1. I think Nico Barkley's the one with the weakest launch. Actually, Kevin Sigi Rebenak there with a great launch. Look at that. He's going around the outside of Lucas Schmidt already. What a brilliant contact between Schmidt and Sigi Rebenak as well. Sigi Rebenak from 7th to 3rd. Oh, and further contact. And is that Schmidt off the road? Yes, it is contact between him and Barkley. And I think that was Franchich, and Schmidt is round. Schmidt is round and into the wall. Someone else off there as well. Limburg out. Olsen round. Fournier in grief as well. And now Nico Barkley's off the road. It's chaos in the first few corners, much as it was in race number 1. Although this one was a little more important when it comes to the title fight, Peter. Because Schmidt is out the points and Barkley is out the points in that crucial relegation battle.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the replay. I think Lucas Schmidt got caught out by everyone braking a bit early there in front of him, and then he got hit from Nico Buckley from behind, also under braking.
Oh, and Kill got spun round at the crest as well. Thankfully, everyone managing to avoid him. It was a rejoin that he couldn't do much about, and really holding up Tristan Potters there. As who's that round now? Is that Philip Morby? Yes, it is. Crazy first lap, but at the end of it,
Austin spins. He takes out Lucas Schmidt.
So ACR and Red Bull in massive grief at the end of lap 1 is Campfield, who still leads from Baldy, but Siggy Remenak is on the charge. He's already into the podium places, and he's looking hungry to potentially take this lead of the race, this win, Baldy. A final win. Oh, as Campfield's gone wide! Campfield's gone wide, and Gogo Baldy takes the lead.
Both Baldy and Campfield had a massive mistake into turn 1. Baldy braking on the grass, losing the rear. Campfield completely missing the braking zone. And Kevin Siggy Remenek's looking good here to fight for the win.
Okay, apparently it sounds like we've been having issues with the broadcast, so we apologize for that. Hopefully you still had audio. We'll have Argo just send us a message. Did they have audio or not? Otherwise, we will catch you up with the race. As things stand now, Baldy leads from Siggy Remenak. Kasdorp into the positions with Campfield. A massive mistake between himself and Baldy. Sees him down to P4, but look at Jarl Tyen up to P5 already. The Edge boys are in a hugely beneficial position. 2 of their main championship rival drivers are out of the points. In fact, they're plumb last as it stands. Olsen and Schmidt behind. Francic is P6 with Brugman up to P7. Strana, Cervic and Butcher round out your top 10. Pinches, McGlade, Bell, Taylor and Fournier from the back of the grid. Currently rounding out your point scorers. Allington and Limburg, your 2 retirements. And Baldy is going to surely lose the lead here. Siggy Remenak, he's took 4 positions at the start, and he's going to take the all-important one here into turn 1. Siggy Remenak takes the lead of the race. Gogo Baldy holds on to second.
Jarl Tyen up to P4 now. So, Jarl Tyen doesn't have any red penalty, or only 9 kilos, so we might get a 1-2 edge here to take the championship.
Which would replicate their race 2. Their race 2 in Okayama, if you might recall, and that was the same 2 drivers once again. I told you to watch out for them in race 2, and if they score a full 45 points here, as things stand, Edge Esports would take the team's championship. We'll keep you up to date with all of the ongoings as they go on. The Siggy Remenak, he's gone. I think that is 25 points that they can file away as secure, because Gogo Baldy and Yuri Kasdorp, both with pretty decent weight ballast, they're going to be struggling, especially with Jarl Tyen behind only on 9.
Looks like Garibaldi this time around is being the cork in the bottle for Yuri Kasdorp. Yuri is gaining now on a bit straight. Does he go to the outside? Yeah, he does. So let's Baldy tried a few times when there's one going around the outside, and now Kasdorp late on the brakes. Baldy still has the inside line.
Oh, that's good respect from both races, and I think Kasdorp's going to get this completed around the outside, surely. Baldy with the second most weight ballast in the field, and it is showing. Kasdorp is through into second. Rowing GP looking very good to survive another year. Although actually that said, I forgot Barkley's outside of the points now, isn't he? So Francic and Cervic still with points to gain here in this race.
Yeah, Francic also gained the place by overtaking Adrian Campfield, so he's up at P5.
Yep, good spot. And so Gogo Baldy, I would be very surprised if he finishes on the podium, to be honest. Jarl Tyen. That's a bit of contact between Strana and someone else.
Nah, this was Brugman trying to go around the outside of Campfield, uphill there, was way too late. Strana moved up ahead.
The spot. So Brugman suffering for his mistake. That's a big sideways moment for Adam Pinches. Who just about recovers it up there in P11 and 2 Smile Powers running line astern. And look at Jarl Tyen now. Surely that's another position gone for Gogo Baldy. I think it's damage limitation time for the Hungarian. If he can still have a decent starting position for race 3, he'll be happy. And to be fair, looking at the gap back to David Francic, as long as he keeps on going at this pace, he should be all right. Jarl Tyen then into P3. So close to an edge 1-2, which would secure the championship surely. David Francic P5 then with Campfield 6. Strana and Brugman going into battle once again. Strana on the inside. Oh, cutting the grass on the inside of the NASCAR bend. Still not able to make it past Adrian Campfield. Contact on the rear there. And thankfully Campfield stays in one. As up the inside goes Cervic on Brugman. And Brugman holds on for now. And look at Butcher. Look at Butcher muscling his way up the inside of Scott Cervic. It's a domino effect of drivers trying to maybe eke out a little bit more advantage than they're owed. Butcher going to throw this one up the inside of uphill, and Cervic breaks way too late, but he gets it stopped in time miraculously. Stays in P9.
Yeah, Campfield is struggling very hard now with this weight penalty. He's dropping on the order. Eric Strana is up his rear bumper, trying to get ahead everywhere. Niels Brookman is catching up again after being overtaken by Eric Strana. And Strana has a very good exit. He's very close to Campfield now.
You've got to look at Jarl Tyen. Jarl Tyen right on the back of Yuri Kasdorp here. This will be one of the most difficult overtakes he would have had to pull. Kasdorp not really choosing to defend on the inside either. He almost lets Jarl Tyen through. And it is an Edge Esports 1-2. As things stand, Edge Esports are the 2018 team's title winners. So Baldy fourth, still a good second and a half ahead of David Francic, although that gap is coming down. Strana past Campfield now with Brugman in 8th. Cervic still holding off Chris Butcher and Bell ahead of Pinches. Two Smile Power swapping positions. McGlade and Taylor going side by side. Contact, and McGlade forced off the road. A little bit forceful there for Alan Taylor. I would not be happy if I was Mr. McGlade. And I think Taylor's going to keep the position. And here comes Jeffrey Fournier flying up the inside as well. Uphill, Lewis McGlade has been mugged and left at the side of the street. Although uphill, he's going to take that position back. Thank you very much. He retains P40. And Eric Strana's looking hungry, Peter.
Yeah, I was about to say, Strana past Campfield now on the back of David Francic. Good exit again onto the pit straight. So with the slipstream less weight penalty, should be an easy move. Decides for the inside early, so that's basically move done.
Yeah, stuck it where it hurts. And Eric Strana's up into P5. Behind Campfield, looking to fend off Niels Brugman. The battle for P7. And in all honesty, I can see why Niels Brugman wants to get this move done. Chris Butcher's finally ahead of Scott Cervic. That's particularly a Bob Cork, which is now not a thing. Niels Brugman still on the outside of the NASCAR bend. You do not want to be there, as we saw to Schmidt's displeasure. So Campfield stays ahead for now. Butcher, Cervic rounding out the top 10, and Cervic now under all sorts of pressure from the Smile Power boys. A reminder that the top 10 to 15 all with a chance of that reverse grid pole position, as Daniele Brambilla takes to the grass as he is lapped for the first time. Chris Butcher flying over that crest with two wheels. It's so good to watch, but it's so dangerous at the same time. Shout out to Taylor, who's made his way into the top 13, although remember, he's got that incident with McGlade to think about. McGlade, who's still holding off Jeff Fournier. Got to watch out for Craig Patterson as well on the precipice of the points here. P16 will be looking to just eke inside, or make his way inside the top 15 just for a shot at that reverse grid pole position on his debut. Nico Barkley with a decent recovery drive up to P17. And as for our two title protagonist drivers who got caught up at the beginning there, Schmidt's only made his way out to P19. He's got also for close company in P20.
Brookman this time around on the outside of Campfield to turn 1 and managed to get past. Yeah.
So Brugman up into P7. And I'm sure he'll be looking at Francic as another target as well. Francic, remember, with the third heaviest weight ballast on the grid. But we're starting to run out of laps. Lap 8 of 13. And that'll be a move that Brugman will be very happy to get done, because remember, Chris Butcher's now
I think we've just lost James for a bit.
No, I'm here.
Oh,
I'm expecting you to talk.
no, you cut off mid-sentence, and I was
did
thinking, did your internet cut off again?
Oh, my apologies. I do need a drink though. I'm getting parched.
Ah. Yeah, Chris Butcher is now catching up to Campfield. Butcher no weight penalty, or close to no weight penalty? No, he has no weight penalty. And Campfield obviously with the 75 kilos. And I hear contact somewhere. But I don't think there was... Oh yeah, Brambilla DNF'd.
Yeah, and so Bell into the top 10, although Scott Cervic is looking eager to make his way back in, actually. We've had P10 as the reverse grid number. I think it's the most seen number. And look at those late braking skills from Scott Cervic, using the Mercedes to the best of its abilities, but not able to make his way through, and he has to cut off the apex now for Adam Pinches. He doesn't want to be overtaken when he's trying to do the overtaking. And in fact, he's just going to lose the position anyway. So Adam Pinches through, muscling his way through into P12. And as often the case, Smile Powers work neatly in pairs, and they are both through a position. So Eric Schahn is still catching Baldy. Niels Brugman underneath the rear wing of David Francic, and Chris Butcher catching the back of Campfield. These are your major stories inside the top 10 at the moment. Although point scoring positions are still up for grabs. Bell, Pinches, Cervic, Taylor, all in a close battle. Taylor absolutely flying over the crest gate. Time hand over fist on Scott Cervic. Almost looking up the inside of turn 14. In fact, he does. Now as it comes back in on itself, Cervic is going to stay ahead, but Taylor looking hungry. McGlade and Fournier still in those final point-scoring positions. 4 retirements we're now up to, with Potters and Brambilla out.
Yeah, and it seems to be going backwards for Eidos at the moment. Bergman is very close to Francic now as well. Making a move on the pit straight, choosing the outside line as Francic defends the inside. Last time we made it stick around the outside against Campfield, but Francic late on the brakes. Both need to go wide into turn 1.
But behind, though, worst case scenario for Niels Brugman. Chris Butcher is now through and up into P8. And immediately onto the back of Niels Brugman. Francic is struggling. And actually, is Baldy and Strana close? Baldy and Strana is very close indeed.
Oh, and Castor was miles off track just when I saw him a minute ago. It's interesting lines he chose there.
Brugman looking to the outside of uphill. Always a slight bit of outbraking from David Francic. Stays ahead for now. He uses the exit of that corner to his advantage very well indeed. Lap 10 of 13. And he is really slowing up the pack now. Look, Butcher, Campfield. Is Bell in there as well? Yeah, all of this battle, all the way down to P13 pretty much, is in the hunt for P6. But further up, I think we're going to see a move here. Strana and Baldy finally within slipstreaming range. This could be Baldy losing P4. Strana closes. Baldy's committed to the inside. Strana to the outside. We know that's not a problem. Breaks very late indeed. Baldy's not going to be able to do anything here, I don't think. Mounting the inside curbing. Tries to stay in there. But Strana simply has superior traction. And through the NASCAR bend, Strana is up into 4th behind. Niels Brugman, is he going to make the move stick on Francic? Yes, finally up the inside of the NASCAR bend. I wasn't expecting that corner to see as much overtaking action as it has seen. You know what, this still isn't done. Francic is still defending. Contact there on exit. Finally, Niels Brugman is through.
Oh, and now Campfield goes up the inside of Chris Butcher. Contacted. Oh, no.
Into the barriers. And he gets it back on track, but he could lose position to Cervic here, who's coming up fast. Here he is, Cervic up the inside of uphill. And is Taylor going to compound the misery? Yes, he is. Another mistake from Campfield. That one was a lot more deadly. And I think that car's crabbing.
Yeah, it is. I think so. He went for an optimistic move onto Chris Butcher, and yeah, got punted out of the track.
And Niels Brugman now starting to scurry away as Chris Butcher is being held behind Francic through this midfield section. Got to be careful, the 2 Smile Powers there as well. Then it's Cervic, Taylor, Campfield now, McGlade and Fournier. Patterson still watching the points, reaching his hand, but still not so close as Lewis. McGlade skips to the outside. Look at Fournier, though, who's going to get closed in. 3 wide down the straight, and Fournier is going to attempt to overtake both of them. McGlade, he got the short end of the stick on that particular occasion. He went in to try and get a buy one, get one free, and he paid double the price for one product. Fournier, he goes up into 13th with some beautifully opportunistic driving. And McGlade, he's going to be rubbing his wounds after that one.
Oh, Chris Butcher, David French, side by side again.
And around the outside of turn 5 again. That's a beautiful move. Francic, try as he might, simply does not have the pace in these conditions. Lap 12 of 13, by the way, we're 1.5 laps from the end.
Oh, Pinches with a beautiful switchback. Francic, what did...
How did he do that? I was stunned in disbelief. He's just re-overtaken Chris Butcher up the inside with a Hail Mary of a move.
I think Chris Butcher there did do the wise move and not turn into the corner after Francic went there in super wild in there.
I mean, that was commitment and a half. Surely he's going to lose the position again down this back straight, though. All working out beautifully well for Niels Brugman, who continues to extend this gap up to 2.5 seconds now from David Francic. Final lap of the race, though, and it could be the final lap of a championship to be decided here in 2018 at the league, because Edge Esports, they're looking to be the team's title champions just after their driver won the drivers.
Francic is defending the inside early, a little bit of contact with Butcher, but Francic is still ahead.
He's defended so well. And Chris Butcher isn't risking it, is he? He knows he'll just have a better position in race 3. And at this point, title fight is over. No need to risk the car. But we really do need to go back up.
Campfield, no! Campfield way too late into the upper corner. Same as Francic earlier, but completely missed his braking. Collected Fournier. Fournier stayed on track. Campfield spun out.
And so that's Patterson into the points, but around the final corner, it's your 2018 Drivers' Champion who wins race 2 here in Virginia. Kevin Siggy Rebenak leads home the second Edge Esports 1-2 of the evening. It means that Edge Esports are your team's champions here in the 2018 ITC season. A fantastic effort from both drivers. Yuri Kasdorp was going to come home on the podium for Rowan GP. With Strana P4, Baldy leading an Enterprise 5-6, Brugman P6, so close to the line here for 7th. Butcher ahead of Francic, ahead of Pinches and Bell rounding out the top 10. He leads off your reverse grid candidates. Cervic in 11th with Taylor 12th, Fournier 13th. With McGlade and Patterson rounding out your point scorers. Kilk, Barkley, Schmidt, Campfield, Olsen, Morby and Yunt, the last of your finishers. Brambilla, Potters, Allington and Limburg, your 4 retirements. Edge Esports are your team's champions. And Kevin Siggy Rebenak is your drivers. So a great day at the office for the Belgian outfit.
I still can't believe Francic managed to make the move stick on Butcher.
It's how? I don't understand how he managed to pull that off.
I need to find a replay.
Do so. It's incredible. What a move. Right, I am just double checking, by the way, that all of these points which I'm imagining are actually happening. Because I could be wrong again. You never know. So that's once again 0 points. Actually, no. Fournier scored 3, so 3 for Epic. Adonis scored 4-5. Lovely. And how much did Eidos score in the end? Francic was P8. So that's 8 points, 5 points, 13. So Rowan did outscore them on that particular occasion. And so Edge Esports with 45 points go up onto 435. Red Bull only scoring 13 go on to 366. They are out. ACR Zack Speed only scored 9. And so they are going to be on 367. So that is full confirmation. And Edge Esports win, hands down. Battle for P2 still on, though, because Enterprise has kind of dragged themselves back in here. 21 points in that race sees them onto 339. Still a tall order to get into the top 3. They are there or thereabouts, though. Epic will be on 286. Smile Power is going to be on 297. And Adonis Engineering are going to be on 279. In the IDOS Rowan battle, IDOS gained 2 points, but in this one, Rowan gained 3 points. So at the moment, the gap is 38 points. And so for IDOS to avoid relegation, they basically need a 1-2.
Yeah, I've looked at the French Butcher move again.
Yeah.
I still don't understand how, but Butcher was too late on the brakes, locked up, then got massive understeer going into the corner, and somehow French braked even later, but has thrown his car into the apex and went past.
I don't understand. Well, what we can at least understand is that there's a reverse grid coming up as well. And so I'm just going to take a picture of this grid so that we know the order of things once the reverse grid number has been announced. A reminder that your potential candidates are Bell, Cervic, Taylor, Fournier, McGlade, and Patterson. I mean, that's an interesting group of people. McGlade and Taylor are the only race winners from this year, at least, in that 5. Fournier has won a race in the past. Has Bell won a race in the past? He might have done. Definitely a podium sitter.
We don't have our reverse grid number yet, though.
No. Well, we're waiting to go to the next session, currently. Goodness gracious. And another spice to the mix is that we've got Schmidt, Barkley, and Olsen all starting from outside the points as well. So they're going to be trying to rush their way up the order. And so, final race of GPVWC's 2018 season. And there's going to be no pressure. No championships to fight for. It's all for pride. And it's a reverse grid race. That spells trouble to me.
Yeah, or some would call an amazing race.
I mean, yes, I mean, amazing entertainment, sure.
Yeah.
Andreas Wouters, does it make sense that I would do an interview now from the pit wall? Come in, let's do a quick interview with Andreas Wouters. Let's get this one out of the way, shall we? Let's have a little talk with Andreas. So, you came into this championship with a very decent looking driver lineup. Kevin Sigi-Remenak, already proven pedigree. Mohammed Patel, an interesting wildcard choice of such. You've had Jarl Tyen in for a couple of rounds though. And goodness me, has Jarl Tyen performed, Andreas. He has just helped your team to your first team's title in the ITC. And of course, Kevin Sigi-Remenak confirming the formalities. A driver's title for him couldn't have gone any better.
Yes, exactly. I'm super happy tonight. Just the end of a season that was hard fought and well worked by everyone. Of course, Kevin being stunning every round. That was amazing. We know what caliber of driver he is. I think Mo also did a good job. Of course, it's a new type of driving for him. The touring cars, he did put in the points that were needed. But then when you all had to replace him because of technical difficulties, yeah, he's just super fast, and I'm super happy for what happened tonight. So well done by the drivers.
Now, everyone was complaining about the Subaru preseason, but it's taken you to so many victories and now the titles in both championships as well. I've been asking a lot of people what they'd like to see change in ITC 2019. I'm guessing that you wouldn't like to see too much change for the Subarus.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. Of course, I'm not very good at sim racing, so I've never actually driven the cars. I don't know if it's the car that is overpowered or my drivers, so I'm gonna leave it like.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Kevin Z. Revenak has been in the form of his life this season across multiple disciplines, so let's just say from my perspective as a commentator, not too much surprise that he's there at the top again. Andreas, we're going to head back into the action now to digest what's going on, to check out our reverse grid numbers. So thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on your team title.
My pleasure, and enjoy the last race. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And enjoy the last race, we shall, because reverse grid number is the maximum of 15. Craig Patterson, on his debut in the series for Adonis Engineering, is on pole position ahead of Lewis McGlade, Jeffrey Fournier, and Adam Taylor. This could work out wonderfully well for Adonis Engineering. At the same time, we've got a rookie on pole position that could cause all sorts of mayhem.
Yeah, reverse grid races are always the best. People without weight penalty starting at the front, people with weight penalty trying to get back at them. Also, turn 1 is always, well, always, most of the time, very interesting in reverse grid races.
You don't say. You don't say. And so what is there to fight for? A reminder that the relegation battle between 11th is still mathematically on. It's not awful for IDOS in terms of starting positions. They're going to be middle of that top 15 pack, with actually Cervix starting 4th on the grid. But, and it is an almighty but, they need to finish 1-2. At the very least in this race, to not get relegated. Racing Team Schroten, TTF, CM Tech, we've already bid them adieu. They are confirmed out of Division 1 for 2019. As I think we might have lost... Oh no, we lost Mr. Walters, don't worry. But yeah, they're already out. IDOS really do need a miracle in this last race for them to still be in Division 1 next year.
Yeah, fuck. Where does Nico start?
Barclay, 17th, if I remember correctly.
Ah, he was 17th. Okay, well... 17th is a good position to get in trouble though, but Yuri... I don't know.
Well, Kastorp's back there as well, remember, with 5th in the reverse grid.
15 is the number.
So Kastorp's going to be back outside the top 10, with 3rd maximum weight ballast. And Francis is going to be further up the road.
Everything can happen, but then I just needs a very good finish.
A very good finish. They need a 1-2.
Yeah, as I said, a very good finish.
And I love, by the way, let's have a little look at Nico Barclay and Adam Taylor, by the way. They've decided to go onto the full course. Our cameras don't follow them that far, but they've gone onto the full course for some...
Yeah, you can. Just press...
Or yeah, they just go onto a different camera.
Another camera, yeah.
It's not set up for the other cams though.
Well,
just stretching their legs.
I can see them, and it's something you see them do sometimes on different practice servers.
And just dismissing our cones for some reason. Thanks a lot. Chris Williamson put them out ages ago. And let's actually have a shout out to the team behind the scenes, shall we? Chris Williamson, the race director for Division 1, who has spent endless hours on race directing, on making sure that this mod is ready, watching over things. He is the daddy of GPVWC, with the exception of Will Panisi, of course, who is the ultimate, like, granddaddy, this sort of stuff. Thank you so much for all of your work. And to Sandeep Choda as well, an unsung hero, race director, over in Division 2, and a big shout out to our Division 2 drivers as well, who are all having lots of fun over there. And actually, we won't be able to tell, because we're not watching it live, who's going to be promoted to Division 1 next season. But I think Frammy Autosport is the team that was leading going into this round, so looking very likely for that. Final race of the season, then. Final race of the year at GPVWC. If you want more GPVWC action, you're going to have to wait until GPVWC Day on December 2nd. But for now, what to expect? Can we expect anything, Peter Schulze? It's just a battle for pride, surely.
Ah, my microphone was muted again. Good one.
It's the second time this evening.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't like me.
I'm trying to talk to you, Peter. Like, two-way street. Come on.
Yeah. Battle for Pride today. Yeah. Also Battle for Pride to brag about at GPV Day, obviously.
I guess it's fair to say a final chance to put yourself in the shop window for next season.
Oh yeah, obviously. I mean, some drivers might not have a contract for next year, or some teams might drop out and drivers need new seats.
I mean, just look at the likes of Cervic and potentially Francic as well, who more than likely with IDOS they're going to be relegated. They could be a pretty good pickup for a Division 1 team next season.
Yeah. Oh, Nico Buckley dropped out. I think his internet is gone.
Nico. I get that reference, Dave. Don't worry. Mr. Yunt knows his animu. Apparently, Nico's on his way back, so we are going to wait for our Peruvian friend.
I mean, actually, that's not what Adam said.
Huh?
That's not what Adam said.
That's not what... No, Adam spelled it differently. You can make your own inferences from that chat. Let's hope Nico's PC doesn't boot up in 10 minutes. I don't think that we'd wait 10 minutes for Mr. Barkley, to be fair. And to be fair, that would be amazing for IDOS. Again, 95% sure they're going to be relegated by the end of the next race. But they can take every advantage that they get.
Chris Butcher's doing the landmower.
I need to watch this now. Oh, so he is. I mean, the grass doesn't need cutting around here. It is as flat as a pancake. Except for the fact that Virginia is very bumpy. Or at least Virginia Raceway, I should say. I've never actually been to Virginia. I've been to the States 3 times and only been to 2 states. It's embarrassing, really. Need to explore some more.
They're trying the Subaru Alliance, but doesn't really work in the front-wheel drives.
So Mr. Barkley's game is loading. That is good to hear. So we should be ready to go in about 2 minutes.
I mean, depends how fast his PC is. It might be 5 minutes.
Well, no, his game's loading. That to me says 2-3 minutes. In the meantime, let's talk about Coca-Cola Zero Sugar Cinnamon, which is a festive flavor, which I picked up the other day. Gorgeous.
It sounds awful though.
Let's put it this way: if you hate cinnamon, it's gonna be disgusting. I'm gonna lay it flat to you. It's not great if you don't like cinnamon. If you like cinnamon, then spoiler alert, it tastes like cinnamon. So you don't like it. What is Butcher doing to his engine? Is he just revving? Don't know. My ears, says Ranu Muru. What the heck was that? Was that my whisper, guys? I don't know whether you're listening to the broadcast in-game, or was it Butcher's engine like I heard?
I was at DIV1, so didn't hear anything.
Bizarre. Nico Barkley determined to make this season as long as possible. Confirmed. He doesn't want it to end. I don't want it to end. I mean, to be fair, we all need a break, but I don't want it to end. I tell you what. We've talked about potentially dropping some tracks for next year. On the basis of he disconnected again, that might be the end of Mr. That might be the end of Mr. Barkley's evening.
I
because we're not going to wait that long.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving on to race. So unfortunately for Owen GP, F's in chat, Barkley is not going to take part in race number 3. Well, that's one driver out the way for IDOS. But yes, going back around to my point, on the evidence of the first 2 races this evening, I'd quite like to see Virginia come back for a year. It's been a really fun event, actually.
Yeah, it is. Also quite technical with the infield basically being one line, and it benefits drivers who are good with car-to-car action, basically, or good with driving next to another cars. Because it's close to impossible to go too wide there, but you've seen some people do it today.
It's almost like everyone has stepped up their game when it comes to car-on-car combat. Long may that continue, like a year on down the line when 2019 season happens. Right, Peter, I want you to take a look down this grid. I want you to select for me a winner. A reminder that the weight ballast goes down to Mr. Bell in P6, and of course Kevin Siggy Rebenak with the most in P15. Let's get underway, shall we? On our formation lap for the final time this Craig Patterson on his debut, who leads us off from pole position, and alongside him it is another Honda in the form of Lewis McGlade. His only win this season, his only time on the podium this season, has come from the reverse grid at Brands Hatch, so he's surely going to be fancying his chance. Although he will be up against Jeffrey Fournier, who is a race winner himself in this category in his lone appearance in the 2018 season. Adam Taylor, he's won a race this season as well, of course. He just won his race last time out in Curitiba. That was in race 3 as well. So alongside Scott Servitt, who's got to take part in an IDOS Motorsport 1-2 if his team are to survive in Division 1 next season. Mike Bell leads the Smile Power duo, P6 and P7, with David Franchich, the second of the IDOSes, in P8. Our top 10 is rounded out by Chris Butcher and Niels Brugman. We then have Gergo Baldi, Eric Strana, Yuri Kazdorp, Jarl Tyen, and Kevin Siggy Rebenak rounding out the point scoring positions. A reminder, Kevin Siggy Rebenak now back with his 75 kilograms of weight ballast that he took into qualifying and race number 1. And then to outside the point scoring positions, we have Wright Kilk in P16, Lucas Schmidt looking to provide a comeback drive in P17 alongside Campfield and Olsen in 18th and 19th respectively. Philip Morby rounding out the top 20. Then come the 2 CM Techs. They're already relegated this season. Can they score their final point in Division 1? It's Junt ahead of Brambilla. Tristan Potters will be P23 with Matthew Allington P24. And rounding out our grid, it's the luckless Lindbergh from this round in particular. And Ranu Muru has rejoined for our final race of the evening in P26, which means that we have lost a different driver than the one that we had in race number 2.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling to remember who it was.
Nico Barclay.
Oh, of course it was Barkley. Yeah, I'm dumb. I'm sure that not many people would disagree with that analysis, but I'm just reaffirming it myself. So, onto the grid comes Mr. Patterson. Peter, your selection for the race win?
Adam Taylor if he doesn't crash.
Adam Taylor if he doesn't crash. You've stolen my choice. And so I will go for... Let's go for a bit of romance, shall we? Let's go for Jeff Fournier. Surprise win. A positive at the end of what has been a miserable epic. The lights illuminate for the final time in this WC in 2018. Let's hope it's a good one. We're off and underway for the final time in Virginia. And it has been a good start there from Adam Taylor off the second row. Lewis McGlade as well has had a decent start. He is ahead, but he's going to have to sweep around the outside of turn 1 if he wants to take the lead. He's going to try it, though, side by side through the first corner. And Lewis McGlade, he's got a bit of purchase on the exit here. Smile Power goes grass through the NASCAR bend. Lewis McGlade takes the lead. And that is... Oh, no, he hasn't. Not just yet. Craig Patterson's going to hold on for now. We're on the outside of the left hook. McGlade's surely going to have this one sewn up. Oh, very close, but McGlade does now have it. Fournier ahead of Taylor. Who else has made a good start? Baldy up tonight. Bell up to... Actually, no, Bell was in 6th. Never mind me. Franchich has had a poor start. He's down to P10 and is battling already with Yuri Kazdorp. Niels Brugman has also had a poor start. And there's the other Owen GP flying up the inside. That was Kazdorp there going into P11. past Niels Brugman, further up the front. Oh, that's one of the smoke powers off. That's Mike Bell. Mike Bell off the road. And I think Gogo Baldy's been involved with that as well, because he is down to P9 now. He's lost a couple of positions as Butcher goes up the inside of David Frančić into P14. A brilliant move there from the Englishman, who then forces Frančić wide. Contact on re-entry, and Butcher stays ahead for now. At the end of lap 1, though, it is McGlade who leads from Patterson. The two Adonai of Taylor and... what am I talking about? McGlade, Patterson, Taylor, although it looks like Taylor's going to go through. Fournier pinches, Cervic, Butcher, Frančić, Baldy and Brugman rounding out the top 10. And surely that's Taylor up the inside of turn 1. Yes, it's, oh, look at Fournier, sneaky squirrel. Makes hay while the sun shines. But he's going to have to make it sick around the outside of the NASCAR bend if he wants to complete the move. No, he's not going to do that. Craig Patterson holds the inside and holds P3 for now. Although look at the cutback. Fournier on the inside of the left hook. Patterson sweeps around turn 4 and he's going to keep it into turn 5.
Yeah, eventful lap 1. We've seen a few other incidents. I've seen White Kilk being off track and losing a lot of positions.
Siggy Rebenak down to 23rd.
Oh yeah, he was involved somewhere as well.
Oh, and look at Taylor. Goodness me, Taylor's already onto the back of McGlade. I think we were pretty astute in our observations here, Mr. Schulze. Adam Taylor is flying and looking for his second race win of the season. Craig Patterson, of course, looking to provide rear gunner action here. Hold off Fournier. Pinches, Cervic, Butcher, Frančić, Baldy, Brugman, Kasdorp, Strana, Tyen, Olsen and Schmidt have found their way inside the points as well.
Oh, and Taylor got a good exit out of the last turn.
This should be it. McGlade's going to go very defensive. But Taylor's got an optimum line. This Honda's been great on the straights all year long. With Slipstream, it is hard to beat it. Although McGlade's showing some good straight line speed himself, he goes to the middle of the track to provide a defensive line. That said, Taylor's grip around the outside is looking very good indeed. He puts the power on round turn 2 and into the NASCAR bend. He's going to be on the inside. Adam Taylor takes the lead of race.
We also have Fournier and Pinches side by side.
And Pinches around the outside of turn 4. Great move.
Fournier trying the switchback again. Oh, very close contact. No, Pinches into the wall.
Oh, and he's going to splat back on the track. No, that was a stroke. I just had a stroke there. And Pinches with some brilliant patience, although he was...
Oh no, this is...
And Kevin Seeger-Rebenak got caught again. Pinches couldn't have done anything there, except maybe reversed off the track.
Or stay on his brakes to not roll forward.
Oh! Taylor almost flipped it, by the way. And so, it's all kicking off here in race number 3. Adam Pinches is out of this race, along with our brand new champion, Kevin Seeger-Rebenak, Muru and Morby also out of this race. So Racing Team, TTF Racing, they are done in ITC. That is their campaign's over. Good news for IDOS, though. Their drivers are still 6th and 7th.
Yeah, but I think Butcher got ahead of Soviet, though.
Yes.
And Butcher taking Geoffrey Fournier now.
Chris Butcher looking to muscle his way up the inside of Fournier. Not going to happen on this lap. Behind Gogo Baldy as well, looking to get up the inside now on the outside of David Frančić into the NASCAR bend. Nothing doing this time around. It's a bottle cork effect here with Fournier at the head of it. Patterson's been afforded a bit of room. And to be fair to McGlade, he has not let Taylor out of his sights. He's clung onto the back of him for that overtake. Was Baldy going to look to the outside of Frančić? Yes, he does. Frančić breaks a little bit late. Baldy breaks a lot later, but he wraps it back in, and Niels Brugman's not going to attack. Daniele Brambilla becomes our 5th retirement of the day, so the lone CM Tech left in this race. Oh, and that was Kasdorp, a loose moment there, and he's under pressure from Tyen.
Kasdorp was easing this weird line. He just did a lot in the last 2 races. I think he's trying to kind of drift through the corner, but then when the car grips, obviously he just goes out of the corner, as we've seen here.
So it's a bit of a Noah's Ark situation down here. The most likely outgoing IDOS, followed by Enterprise. Kazdorp rounding out the top 10, of course. Up at the front, Taylor and McGlade still continue to run away with Patterson in P3. Fournier still defending off Chris Butcher, who's struggling to get past, although he dives up the inside of the NASCAR bend. Fournier breaks very late, and he keeps it around the outside. That's some great defensive driving from the Frenchman.
There's a huge train of cars right behind Chris Butcher, all fighting for P6. Now Eric Strawn is getting a run on Yao Tyan. Oh, Tyan very late on the brakes, bumps into Yuri Kazdorp, and Tyan is off.
And Tyan's into the barrier. Well, they're new team's title champions, but they could be non-scoring here in the final race. And Kazdorp's down to 14th. I wonder whether he suffered any damage there.
This was a hard hit by Tyan. Tyan very, very, very late on the brakes and just completely drove into Kazdorp there.
Well, they've done their job for the evening. Thank goodness for their sakes that the title didn't go down to race 3. Otherwise, we would have been looking at a very fascinating situation. At 6 of 13, halfway through. And it is still Taylor from McGlade. Although the gap has opened up to 6/10. Taylor putting his foot down. Patterson third. With Butcher still there in P5 behind Jeff Fournier, Cervic, Francic, Baldy and Brugman. It's Enterprise versus IDOS. And it's very much Noah's Ark now because we've got the 2 Red Bulls behind them. Oh, Olsen ahead of Strana. And Allington, by the way, in the points, P15 for Dragon. I'm looking at Baldy and Francic. I'm thinking this is where the next move's going to line up. Once again, Francic non-committal, stays in the middle of the road. So Baldy weaves about and isn't able to find much purchase anywhere. Everyone using that outside line. And I think Enterprise with a bit more latent pace than these IDOS boys. They want to get past, but obviously around this midfield section it's been incredibly difficult to make a pass. To be fair, if this is a final outing for IDOS, what a great performance it has been over the course of the last 2 rounds. It's just a shame that they've not had that form over the course of the season, Peter.
Yeah, this they stepped up their game recently, it seems. Soviet especially having good drives, and then replacement drivers for the second seat coming in and not having good drivers as well. And I think Butcher's attacking Fournier again into turn 1, trying around the outside. Fournier very late on the brakes. Butcher might try a switch pick, but now he's on the outside again.
And a curious situation behind, by the way. Brugman has been allowed through by Baldy as Fournier and Butcher come into contact into turn 3. Fournier still defending that P4 with all his might, although that might allow a little... Butcher thought about diving up the inside of... Decided that patience was the better option on this particular occasion. Remains in P5. And all of this, by the way, keeping Patterson in P3. He's going to be loving life at the... No need to defend.
We have a bit of formation running going on in the midfield. 6 and 7 IDOS, 8 and 9 Enterprise, 10 and 11 Red Bulls.
Just highlighting what a colourful field we have, really.
But Olsen is very close to Baldy now. Seems
yes,
like Baldy letting Brugman through is costing him now.
Well, Baldy was the one with more weight ballast going into this particular race.
Yeah.
As is that Cervic on Butcher? Yes, it is. In fact, Cervic is ahead on the straights. Forgive me for my puberty re-emerging halfway through this broadcast, but Cervic is looking on the outside of Chris Butcher. Not going to happen on this case. David Francic looking eager. And is that Baldy losing position to Olsen? Yes, it is. Olsen through into 9th. And actually a reminder that Olsen started outside of the points. So no weight ballast and doing a mighty fine job to be up in the top 10 now.
now French is very close to Soviet. Will they switch positions into the upper corner? Yeah,
Yep.
French is very late on the brakes.
Oh, and he almost put Cervic off a little bit there. Francis up into P6. And Cervic down to P7. Tactical switches, necessary switches. We'll never know.
Oh, Brookman.
Oh yeah, look at this, Brugman on the inside of Cervic into turn 14. That was bold. It was conservative as well though, to be fair. He got it stopped in time. And Cervic survives another day, but Brugman looking hungry.
Austin had a very bad exit. I think Baldy, the weight penalty is hurting him very much. I don't think he can get close enough to Austin.
No, I agree. And Niels Brugman, his weight ballast is hurting him as well. He's not been able to touch Scott Cervic going into the first corner. And the same can be said of Baldy on Olsen. To be fair, he's got to be careful, Baldy, because now Eric Strana is right behind. Defensive line from Baldy into the NASCAR bend. Holds it for now. Behind, you've got Schmidt, Bell, Kasdorp and Allington rounding out your point scorers. And Taylor up front has now extended the gap to over a second. Peter is looking better and better for him here on lap 9 of...
Yeah, Brookman and Soviet really close. Brookman trying to find a way to get past him, but needs to be careful. Austin is getting closer and closer there.
And look at
Oh,
Baldy
Austin
going...
sends it up the inside. Oh no, a little bit too late for Austin to make the move.
And Baldy holds on to P9. Or P10 I should say now rather. As Adam Pinches has gone. Although that was earlier in the race, don't mind me. Yeah, of course he was involved in that massive accident, wasn't he? Oh my goodness me, Niels Brugman under increasing pressure from Tobias Olsen. This IDOS Enterprise Red Bull battle has been a pleasure to watch so far. Real entertainment. And actually, to be fair, the Enterprise and Red Bulls seem to be getting tripped up on each other more than battling the IDOSs ahead because they've decided to break formation a little bit. Cervic and Frantic escaping. As further up there goes Butcher on Fournier once again. Butcher around the outside of turn 1. And Fournier should have the inside line. Oh, he muscles Butcher to the outside. But that's some supreme traction from the ACR driver, who's going to have a little lip going up into the NASCAR bench. Surely this is Butcher into P4. And finally he makes it stick.
Fournier is fighting back. Up the inside again.
Oh, it's so cutthroat, isn't it? But Butcher is finally through. Is there enough time to catch Patterson? Tell you what, Strana's paying for not making his way past Baldy now because Schmidt and Bell are on the scene and they're looking... Let's put it this way, they're looking faster at this moment in time. Bell with minimal weight ballast, Schmidt with absolutely zero.
A little bit of contact, Olsen and Bergman. Oh, Bergman had an interesting exit there.
Stays ahead for now, but Olsen is most certainly looking like the faster of the two. I think what's helping Brugman at the moment is Scott Cervic hasn't been able to pull away by too much, and so Brugman is still getting the benefit of Cervic's slipstream ahead. And that is that's what's basically gifting him the ability to defend into turn 1 right now. Olsen certainly looking the faster driver through those midfield section. Oh, and that's a lockup from Brugman. Another tap on the rear from Olsen, but it's another lap that goes begging through turn 1.
It looks like Fournier is losing pace now. Francis is catching up with him.
Yeah, he is. Good spot. And to be fair, Butcher hasn't really caught up so much on Patterson. Working so hard to make his way through on Fournier has cost him. And Adonis, I think they've not had a double podium this season. No, they have not. There's not been a single time where they've had 2 cars on the podium. Oh my goodness me, Patterson 2 wheels riding over the crest once again. There won't be 2 cars on the podium if he keeps throwing it over like... I think it's fair to say Cervic is now starting to lose pace here and could be under increasing pressure from Brugman into the slipstream. We're heading on to lap 12 of 13, penultimate lap. The Norwegian, again, it's a non-committal line, going to the inside. Brugman's going to have to break on the outside. Is there a late lunge from Olsen? Yes, there is! And he's muscled his way through, taking advantage of the situation. And that's Tobias Olsen in a nutshell. It's do or die, and in this case, he did.
Oh, now Brugman up the inside, little tap to Olsen.
This one ain't done, especially since Olsen's got Cervic directly ahead of him now. It's been a poor couple of corners for the Norwegian. Again, non-committal, goes to the middle of the track. Olsen shortly going to check out the inside. No, he brakes very late indeed, almost pushing Cervic around the corner, but Cervic stays ahead. That was a wide line from Baldy. Is that going to be Strana up the inside of turn 14? Yes, it is. Although, because of that particular chicane, Baldy stays ahead for now. And Niels Brugman's not happy. Might as well have stuck glue on the back of Olsen's car because that's how close Brugman has been since the overtake. Final lap of the race. Who's going to make the last power plays? Brugman goes super close. Olsen goes super defensive. Olsen not with a chance really to attack Cervic on the inside here.
Eric Strand loses a position to Lucas Schmidt though.
Yep, and Baldy has been a real nuisance here to Eric Strand. The Swede's not been able to make his way past. And Schmidt now on the inside of the NASCAR bend. Oh, tries to throw up the inside of Baldy as well. Not going to happen. And Strand has been able to use that to retake P11. That is supreme driving awareness.
And Frenchich just got past Jeffrey Fournier as well.
Yes, he has. So P5 for Eidos. It isn't going to be enough, but they're going out with a bang. They're going out with a good points haul. Into the uphill section then. And contact between Schmidt and Strana, and Strana's gone very wide indeed. And Strana rejoins. That is going to give Baldy a huge amount of relief. There's a massive crash further back, by the way, but we got to go back up to the front because he's coming round the Hog's Pen for the final time of asking for the final time this season in ITC, in GPVWC. Adam Taylor takes the win here. It's his second consecutive race 3 win for Adonis Engineering, and it is Olsen who is off. Go and check what happened there. It's going to be McGlade who comes home a distant second. Butcher completes the podium with Patterson P4. So Butcher was able to make his way past Patterson P3. Missed that. Apologies on that one. Francic P5 for Eidos, who are relegated to Division 2. Fournier P6 with Cervic P7. Baldy and Brugman benefit P8 to P9. So it must have been contact between Brugman and Olsen, I imagine, because Baldy's passed Brugman at the end there. Strana P10 with Schmidt, Olsen, Kasdorp, Bell, and Campfield, your final scorers. Lindbergh, Allington, and Junter, your finishers. And your retirements from this race, there were a lot of them. Potters, Tyen, Brambilla, Siggy, Rebenak, Muru, Pinches, Morby, and Kilku was disqualified.
So, Olsen tried to pass Soviek on the grass. Then he got side by side with Brugman. It looks strange, I don't know, he just went straight for the racing line with Brugman next to him, it seems. And then there was contact and he got off track and lost a few positions.
It means that they only scored 10 points, Ren. And so it means that ACR Zack Speed are second in the team's title. It means that Red Bull Street Fighter have to settle for third. And of course, Enterprise, they had a tall task on their hands anyway. They will be fourth. Fournier, of course, scoring 10 points for Epic. That was pretty solid for them. Adonis with a big helping of points. 25, 13 is 38. So that is the second biggest amount of points those top 6 teams have scored this evening. Of course, Eidos, we know they've been relegated. So, your final scores are Edge Esports on 435. ACR Zack Speed on 388. Red Bull Street Fighter on 376. Enterprise on 354. Epic End Season on 296. Does that mean that they're ahead of Smile Power by the end? No, it does not, because Smile ended on 299, so 1 point shy of the 300 mark, unfortunately. However, Adonis Engineering, with those 38 points, leapfrog both of them to finish P5 in the standings. 317 points they finished the season on. So well done to Adonis and Taylor and Patterson for those big point scores. That is your lot, though. But what a sad way to end the season for Edge Esports. Siggy Rebenak and Tyen with a double retirement. I believe that is their first double... Actually, no. That is their second double retirement of the season, would you believe? Their first since France Race 3.
Well, good thing finishing first then with the two double DNFs.
Yeah, you don't say. Right then, let us get some interviewees done. And I think it's probably best to start with, once my computer decides to respond, probably best to start with our 2018 champion, Kevin Searebenak. A sad way to end the season there with a retirement in race 3, but you got everything done that you need to do. The team secures the title in race number 2 here at Virginia. Job done for the season.
Yeah, indeed it is. That was my focus mainly in this race to get the team's title in. So anything happening in race 3 was just it was just unfortunate, and I just didn't care. I just had fun, and that's the only thing that's important at the moment. And we made the jump done, and I think Jarl did what he could. He did one of the most solid, one of the best jobs in the season as well, alongside Patel and me. So I think that's why we got the championship, and it was pretty tough, but ACR were pretty close to us. So props to them.
You say pretty close. The gap in the end was 47 points. And so had there been another round, okay, fair enough, it'd be up for grabs. But 47 points, that is a full 1-2 and 2 points more ahead of your nearest rivals. In the Subaru, a car which we were complaining about pre-season as not being great, but ultimately your better tyre wear and your better starts against the rest of the field, they proved to be a huge part to play in that title-winning season.
Yeah, of course. I think, in my opinion, driving the car, I think it's the best car all around if you're looking at consistency and everything. So in race pace, it was more important to have the pace than qualifying. So I just maximized everything. I heard everyone complaining about it, which of course it's just them saying stuff. But to me, it was very solid. It was stable. It was everything you could ask for it to do. And I think the choice was there. I didn't know that the choice was good up until we got into race 1, and then it just proved that it was just God mode, the whole car.
2019. I think I asked you this last time. I mean, of course, you are now officially champion winner this time around. Do you just hope for more cars, maybe a couple of track changes? And actually, what did you think of Virginia? Because I know a couple of people were worried about it, given the nature of the track, how complicated it was, how tricky it was in that midfield section, but actually it provided some really good racing.
Yeah, I think the track was fine. The track's one of my not really favorite ones, but very good ones. I think this particular layout wasn't really that good, but as the long layout, the GT3 layout is much better for me. But I think all around, I don't know if bringing in more cars would be a good thing. I'm not too sure. I think balancing out these current cars would be a lot better, to be honest. And changing up the tracks, I don't care really. I'm just here to race and do the job and win the championship.
We await news from the mod makers, of course. Kevin Seager-Rebenak there, your 2018 International Touring Cup champion. Cheers for joining us.
Thank you.
And who should we go to next? Let's go to Adrian Campfield, shall we? Adrian, pole position and a race win to round off your season. Obviously, it was kind of one of your stories of the season in one round where you had great success in one race and then it kind of fell off in the other ones. Although, to be fair, it was in race 3. Ultimately, though, you've got to be happy because you were looking strong in practice, and boy, did you make the rest of the field pay in race number 1.
Yeah, it was race 1 was good. I don't. So it's a boring story, but I've had the wrong wheel settings on my car all year. So this just prior to this round, I've changed the settings, and all of a sudden the car turns where it wants to go, and that's where my pace has come, and obviously puts me right up there for race 1, which is frustrating as I've been driving all year with the wrong settings. But obviously changing them for this race puts me right up there in race 1 pace, which is good for next year, I guess.
I feel you on the frustrated that you didn't see it earlier, because I've had mic issues for the majority of the year. I got a new one in as well, thinking, oh, didn't. And then it turns out that my levels were too high, and it was everyone else who needed to turn me up as opposed to me turning me up. Very frustrating. Peek behind the scenes. I get annoyed at all stuff. But let's speak about next season, actually. Do you have plans with Why the F1? Because it's been a middle of campaign. You've had some great success. The team's first ever 1-2 at GPVWC as well. Was this just a base year? And on to next year, you'll be looking to maybe challenge for the top 5?
Yeah, next year I like to go again with Matt and YTF1. It's it was a good season, and I like Matt. The support's good in the team, and yeah, I'm happy to go again next year. I don't know what else I'll be doing. I'm looking probably to do FC again. Need a team for that one though as well. So yeah.
Hint, hint. Shop window is well and truly open. Cheers for joining us, Adrian, and congratulations on your 3rd win this season.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. And I think really we should. Yeah. Let's bring in the 3 people that have also been here. Let's talk first to Eric Strana, shall we? 2014 and 2015 champion. As it so happened, my maths was terrible. You still had a mathematical chance of winning the title this round, albeit wasn't to be. Kevin taking the title in race number 1. I'm looking at that round you missed in Italy, and I'm wondering what could have been, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair though, I think Kevin had the overall advantage. First round wasn't great either, and then that happened to that Italy round coincided on my birthday, and then yeah, I mean, basically any other race or any other evening, I think Kevin outscored me probably. So I don't think I would have had much of a shot against him anyway. But yeah, it was a shame. But overall, I think I still beat Chris, so I still got 2nd, I think. So yeah, it's all right considering I missed a round.
It's been a pretty interesting season as well, because you'd look at the lineup and you'd say Ice Cold Racing, but of course you've been brought into the Red Bull stable under the Street Fighter Racing Systems esports team this time around. How has it been like driving for these guys? Is it any different from when you were team owner of Ice Cold? Is there a little less pressure to worry about the state of the team?
I mean, yeah, yes and no. I mean, it's still me and Tobias, and I mean, we've known each other for several years, and we still do the same thing on track. We get more help from David and the group with the Street Fighter, but so that does help a little bit, of course. But in the grand scheme of things, it's basically the same thing. It's you still go out and you still try to do as good as you can, no matter what it says on the cars. At least that's what I do. I think most people do the same.
I would presume. Here's the thing, though. Can we expect a full Eric Strana campaign for 2019? Or are you going to take another sabbatical? Because you seem to like doing those.
Well, like. It's not always my choice either. They have to stop scheduling races on my birthday. That'll help. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. There's some things that should be improved if I would be able to guarantee say I'd participate next year, considering driving standards and the like. But hey, that's nothing new. That's been going on since the dawn of time with ITC. So we shall see.
I was going to say the same thing. And to be fair as well, I think we saw a in driving standards today at least, and there's certainly been some rays of hope throughout this season. I said there's also been some very dark pits of descent that we've gone into, but either way, fingers crossed from all sides that it's going to get better for next season. Eric, a valiant battle, but ultimately wasn't to be. Thank you for joining.
Yep, cheers.
And next we will go to another one of the title contenders, Mr. Chris Butcher.
Hello.
Chris, hello. You've taken your 5th podium of the season. Pretty decent start. And ACR Zach Speed, ultimately, after a real wobble in the middle of the year, with Keithy leaving, of course, securing P2 in the championship. So, you've pretty much continued Vodball's recent run where they didn't finish outside P2 in any of their campaigns. It's been a bit more of a roller coaster this year, but at least you've ended up roughly where you want to be, albeit one place away from where I'm guessing you'd rather like to be.
Yeah, really good that we managed to pull it back. But yeah, obviously, I think we've shown at the end of the season the potential was definitely there. It just took us a few races to get on top of the car's handling and what have you. And obviously, Jack leaving midway, through the season was a big shock, and it took a bit of time to get the team settled after that. So yeah, bit of a tough campaign, but nice to secure second at least.
Got a bit of an interesting one in Schmidt. Lucas, if you don't know him from outside the league, very fast single-seater driver. I wasn't too convinced about bringing him in for front-wheel drive action, but he has really acclimatized well on the speed front, at least, hasn't he? I guess it's more the racecraft side of things and dealing with the rough and tumble nature where more points can be gained, potentially looking at 2019.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously pace-wise has been phenomenal, and but that's the same with every driver that's quick. If you're quick in single seaters, you'll probably be quick in touring cars. But like you say, it's the racecraft that just needs ironing out a little bit. I'm sure he'll get there. He's come on really well, and scored some really good points for us, which is dragged it back into second place for us. So. I'm sure if the ACR management keep us on next season, we'll be able to work on that and hopefully improve on it.
If the ACR management keep us on for next year. What a good joke. Chris Butcher, thank you very much for joining us. And commiserations, of course, on losing the title. And I guess, I know Jarl Tie-In is there, but we need to wrap things up. And I can't think of a better way to wrap things up. Than with a cheeky bit of Lulu McGlade. Of course, Lewis McGlade, of course, the most experienced ITC driver in the field. Old man, reached over 150 races this campaign, and ending the year with a second place. Not bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of balanced out a little bit of the season because, let's be real, the season's been pretty rubbish for me. The race win's great. But for the most part, the season's been just a complete mess. So it's nice to sort of have a race that's against people that's obviously very quick, like the likes of Taylor, who did an amazing job in that race. I had no answer, but I was just pushing as hard as I could. And it's nice to see that I still kind of have that, especially at a track that I was struggling for so long. But yeah, so it was a decent way to round out the season. Now I can have a breather. You
say it's a mess. You didn't score in 4 races. I know it's but listen, it's obviously not as successful as previous races. You ended up on podium once with the exception of your win at Brands Hatch. You at least did get a win, of course. You were close to pole position a couple of times as well. Is it just a story of the field getting stronger this time around? Or do you truly think that it was yourself that didn't help situations this time around?
I think 50-50. No doubt the field is stronger this season than it was last season. But at the same time, I made a lot of mistakes this season. A lot of mistakes, too many for me. You've known me for long enough, James. I don't like making mistakes on track. It really grinds my gears. So to have made so many mistakes, all the times that I've not scored points, with the very specific exception of Okayama, where it was just the game being the game, all of them really are through the fault of me. Not contact aside, there was obviously contact in races, but there was points when I just didn't recover the way I should have done. And as much as I feel stronger, I still feel that these recoveries are stuff that I would have done last season, that I have done last season, that I have done seasons before, that I've even driven better in season 2. Than I have now. There are points that just really bother me. I mean, when you look at the people that I finished around in the championship, like it is an incredible roster of names. It's names that you would expect to still see in the top. Like if they were in the top 5, you wouldn't be like, oh wow, he's out of place.
Mm.
You know, it's an incredible field, but at the same time, I feel that I've let myself down a little bit.
Does that mean we get Lewis McGlade the redemption arc in 19?
Oh, my 7th season.
7th season.
I know. I'm as much as I'm going to take a break from sim racing once everything's wrapped up this year. I'm just going to take a break for a few months and just have a breather.
I mean, ITC is going to be what, second half of next year, I'd imagine.
Exactly. So I've got a long time to wait until that, and I'm only doing one other championship at the moment. But what I want to do is I want to just get a clear head, come back in 2019 into ITC. Different goals, different aims, but you know, taking it one race at a time, and hopefully with a bit of an adjustment to the time model from how I'm driving it. You know, obviously aim for the championship. Obviously,
lovely. But I like the faux ambition. It's all good. Lewis, a pleasure as always.
Thank you.
Go and enjoy your rest. And it's time for us to rest our voices and our eyes and everything in general, Peter. 2018 at GPVWC is over.
Yeah, it's over. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you to the big team helping in each division, each different championship you have. Thank you all to all the broadcasters, viewers, commentators, and everyone who made it possible. Not to forget the sponsors.
Those juicy sponsors. And actually, to be fair, speaking of juicy, you want to get yourself on to GPVWC. How many years have I been at this league? Goodness sake. GPVWC Day, December 2nd, I think. You want to be there. All of the announcements for Career Ladder, for things. I think the Godfather, Will Panisi, is going to be there as well. He should be there. I'd imagine he does all the announcements. Anyway, should be great fun. So if you fancy a day out at Silverstone, be sure to head on up there. And honestly, that's where you're going to hear the next news as to when we're back on YouTube. If you're not interested in following all the social media, subscribe to the GPVWC YouTube, and we'll go live again when we go live. We'll wait and see. Let's wrap things up, shall we? A big thank you to Mr. Argo Tida for joining us on cameras. A big thank you to Mr. Stefan McGee and Mr. Josh Anderson for joining me on co-coms alongside Peter Schultz for these final couple of races in the season. I've been James Kirk, and have a very Merry Christmas and a rather fabulous New Year. Take care, everyone.